Yeah, so we got that thing loaded, we locked and loaded. So we can go and get at it. Again, peace, power, and profit to you, gentlemen. Thus far, we don't have, we got the Kings in the house today, right? Maybe a couple sisters come in. I know they're busy. Yeah, a lot of people are prepping for the holiday too. So it's to be understood, whether they getting, I don't know, prepped, and if you got babies, you got to get the kids right. You're just trying to make do of your time. You're planning on traveling, of course. Unlike the last year scenario dealing with the thick of COVID, now that people got a little bit of I don't know, a little bit more confidence because they got the jab or something like that nature. They're ready to get out there and rock and roll, right? So I'm pretty sure the roads will be a little bit jammed up for this, quote unquote Indian Harvest Day, right? Yeah, I said it, right? Indian Harvest Day next week. Right, the Quakers finna come for me, right? They finna strike my channel, right? Like, what you talking about from Indian Harvest Day? Yeah, next week is Indian Harvest Day. So, we're gonna go on and flip the script and make people who like tradition mad. Because again, one thing about American quote unquote tradition is that it has no tradition. It's all copywritten, stolen, trademark stolen, plagiarized, stolen, everything that's stolen, right? Let's keep it 100. So sometimes you just got to go on and tell the truth as it is. All right. So shout out to everybody who will be participating in Indian Harvest Day next week. If it's for the fact that you're hanging out with family, friends, right? You get a chance to go be around your loved ones to talk this financial stuff, right? Get excited for that, right? Let's see how long that lasts, right? When people like, man, what you talking about the other stock stuff, man? You come way over here to talk about stocks and money. And I want to talk. What you mean you don't want to talk about that? It cost you money to get down here, didn't it? It cost you money to buy this food, right? Yeah, economics matter, right? Again, t-shirt moment, right? Basic is all outdoors, but it matters, right? Right. That should be, a t-shirt we all wear, especially as men, right? Economics matter, right? Let's see how the women get all, flustered with that, in a good way. Of course, they're like, oh, okay, you bought your paper, huh? You bought them economics, huh? You bought them stocks, huh? You bought that Bitcoin, huh? You a paper chaser. You got your portfolio on lock, remain in the G, right? Again, we have fun at this because that's reality how we should be living life. We should be living, in essence, where number one, speaking to the brothers, because we got the house with the brothers today, right? Brothers in the building, right? We should be able to fellowship and have these kind of moments where we can be ourselves and not feel like we're under so much pressure, right? Stress. Right. And the same for the sisters, in that same regard. But, those things are far and few between in our environment, unfortunately. Right. And it's just, a level of compression of, of ego, testosterone, and, everybody want to be, the smartest person in the room, whatever. Well, one thing we realize about, the value of what economics really entails is that it doesn't care about, what size girth is, your triceps and your biceps. None of that stuff matters here. How many pages you read in the book last night. If it's 600 pages, you got through, 300 something in the night. That stuff, unless it's, again, going to equate to you getting a return on your investment within that perspective, right? Because everything has to have, some kind of form of a, reward system, right? So when we think about when you submit your time for anything, it has to come with some kind of form of reward. If not, you wouldn't submit your time, right? We hang out in places where we feel like, we're comfortable and, we can speak the lingo and, we can, be ourselves, right? And so it should be the same way when it comes to us being able to disseminate, financial literacy conversations or just embark on the ideal of having those conversations. What's going on, family? Got my family over there in the YouTube. We got a brother Iora in the building already. Peace, power, and profit. Our brother Zane in the building over there. Again, peace, power, and profit to you gentlemen over there, right? Anybody may be popping in and out. Of course, this is our Thursday night training session. So, of course, we're fortunate to be able to, have it recorded on the YouTube so you guys can follow along. Of course, we're designated to, stay, on course scenario in terms of what we're talking about. But nonetheless, it's great because, again, as, patrons in this industry as we are, anytime we can come together in fellowship or just, kick some ideas around worth edifying, then I think is, Again, that's power, right? That's why we say, power and profit, right? Right? Knowledge brings power. Power equals profit. All right, going back to that. So yeah, so tonight, of course, unorthodox, but still somewhat in line with a lot of things we've been discussing thus far throughout our sessions. We've covered a myriad of topics, right? We're different because, a lot of people just say, okay, we're just going to hammer this, right? We're going to stick to parabolas and fulcrums and sweeps and block trades. And that stuff is well and dandy too, right? Because we brush up on all aspects of everything that surrounds the market when when necessary. But the totality of what this industry is all about is that there's so many moving parts to it that we want to be very diverse, right? We want to have the mental capacity to be able to kind of canvas all of it. Why wouldn't we, right? We do it when we check out anything else, right? If you're a car enthusiast, right, all the every aspect about a car from top to finish. You know how to source the stuff, all the books and the places where you can go get all the good information, firsthand information. Because again, it's the interest, right, involved there, right? So we know permanent interests are the things that keep you, riled up every day in a good way, right? It gets you out of bed every day, right? Without an alarm clock, right? You have an interest in something. You have a internal time clock that gets you up out of bed almost the same time every morning because it's time to go make those donuts, right? Or go out there and be great, quote unquote, right? Well, that's an aspect of you eternalizing, opportunity, right? In some form of a manner, right? And that's based upon having discipline, the methodology within your research to kind of carry it forward or pay it forward. Again, basically at the end of the day, as you see with the title description, you're understanding the behavior aspects of choices, right? Those choices going to equate to you, benefiting greatly, right? In some kind of form or fashion, right? Or it could be scenarios where sometimes we're wasting our time, right? That happens a lot in some cases because, we haven't figured out how to get out of that monotonous regimen of allowing, idle time, to consume us, right? When we could be doing something more constructive, right? We building something, we're trying to build a legacy, right? So the behavior aspects of choices are very important, right? Because you got to get as they say on the block, right? You got to get your mind right, right? Well, essentially you do. You're going to have to get your mind right first and foremost. You're going to have to get your mind right. You get your mind right, you can get your dime right, right? Now, that comes with understanding, what are the opportunities that are laid out there for you that can help you, again, bridge that gap. Well, of course, we speak about things that give us turnkey opportunities. Yeah, you can do it, but you want to be able to understand it. That's the difference, right? Yeah, anybody can hit a buy button, sell button, on a brokerage app and buy some stocks, right? And the stock could potentially even take off and they can make a little money, right? By happenstance, right? But understanding what you're doing, what are your casing and mapping out when you were, effectively in the market or just watching it from afar. Some of you guys may not just be in it like a lot of us are, and you just still keep an eye on it in passing, right? That's great, right? Because what are you doing in that moment? You're keeping, as they say, one ear to the street, as you should anyway, right? We're multifaceted people, right? We can multitask very well when it's necessary. Notice that? When it's something that you have an interest in, you multitask very well, right? And then every other time we play dumb a little bit, right? I don't know. No. Let's be king, majority of the time, right? Because in doing so, you realize that, the extent of your capabilities will be far more than you probably give yourself credit for in this moment, right? And you don't need nobody to kind of give you acknowledgement of that because you just know that you're great, right? You know that you're great, right? Right? That stands for something. That has to stand for something, right? On a personal level with a person, right? As it's a personal accountability, self-preservation. So behavior aspects of choices, right? And the second portion, we're going to speak about bridging market fear with good judgment. Well, because obviously you can't have one without the other, right? Right. You got to understand how to keep your behavior, when we say behavior, not necessarily in terms of, you dealing with someone, outside of you, but more so a lot of that, what it takes for you to make sure you keep yourself contained in the right frame of reference or thought when you're trying to engage something, right? A goal or a task or, you know, whatever that may be before you, you know, some kind of form of an obstacle. That's the challenge, right? Because in the markets, what we realize that it's you against the markets, right? It's not you against somebody else, right? That's why there's no ego involved with what we do, right? Unless you're making some money, you can be, you know, a little egotistical about that. You know, you kind of go around people, I got a little money, I got a little deal, a little stuff. But outside of that, you know, you're performing up against algos, you know, highly frequent, quantitative, you know, algorithms, machines essentially, because now a lot of our markets have been automated, of course, because of technology, right? You're up against a lot of that stuff, macro data, micro data points, you know, understanding, you know, macroeconomics to that of the microeconomic side of things, right? We are geopolitical inclined in some ways, whether you keep up with a right or left side, that stuff really don't matter at the end of the day, but it does have merit in the markets because it moves markets, right? Policy dictates sometimes what, you know, monetary, you know, liquidity, right? Like, you know, but the stimulus checks, right? Stuff like that. What did that do for the market? Okay, people got like, buku wild, you know, and fired up about that, right? They went to buy GameStop and AMC and Nvidia, Tesla. They went to Apple. They went to this, look, you know, outside of that, they went and bought some J's, a cell phone, right? Right? Some brownies from, you know, one of them tight shops. But you get my point. So, and knowing that, you know, given opportunity, you know, how would you direct your choices, right? Could you, you know, model yourself to be the type of person to, you know, stand on your discipline square, right? You have to learn how to stand on your discipline square, right? Because if not, well, we stand to lose more than gain. What would I mean by that? And you could be well off, well-to-do person, whatever, but, you know, again, as the saying goes, you either stand for something or fall for anything, right? Most people who are successful, obviously, at some point, they had to stand for something, right? They had to get serious about something, right? That's just how this stuff works, right? You have to sit still long enough to hear, watch, observe, right? You know, take all this in and then, you know, execute based upon that, right? That's behavior. That's a behavior choice, right? That's a behavior choice. Don't make no mistake about it. You have to choose to, you know, to accept that, you know, that your time is going to be now dedicated or relinquished to, you know, being focused, right? If you will, right? We want to use that scenario, right? So that's important because right now in markets, just in general, we're seeing that we're still in this kind of continuous, you know, I'm gonna call it the continuum, right? We've been taken to the space style thing, right? The continuum of, you know, a constant need to be in the market. And I'm using that as a broad, you know, paintbrush stroke across the broader market, period. There's this need that there's nothing else out there to gain yield at the level that you can gain yield in equity markets. Again, even the real estate market is still up and down right now because we know what's going on with that. Interest rates are still trying to break out, and the Feds keep, you know, trying to subdue that by the bonds. And again, the ideal of cost inflation, you know, is driving these prices up for certain aspects. So, you know, wood, lumber, nails, and all that stuff. A lot of the stuff has moving parts to it, right? But the equity market says, you know what, bump all that, just buy the commodity. Bump all that, you know, just buy this, you know, this material building company, right? See how that works? Again, you're dealing with no overhead. It's the point here. You're dealing with no overhead. The only overhead you bring in this is your mental baggage. Let me repeat that. The only overhead you bring into this industry is your mental baggage. And until you learn how to, again, compartmentalize that, then yeah, it will linger more than necessary because, again, you're trying to learn how to conquer your own what? Fears, your own, you know, your ego. You're trying to conquer all these things because, again, here you're not competing with nobody else, against nobody else but except yourself. So, you know, for that reason, I love it because, you know, it separates, you know, the anxiety of people feeling like they got to keep up with everybody else, right? The saying goes, keep up with the Joneses. We don't have to worry about that over here, right? You know, I don't have to worry about, you know, end of that, within my circle. I mean, when I'm with you guys, the fam, look, we don't have to worry about those kind of things. We're too busy trying to figure out how we can get this money, how we gonna grow opportunity, right? We eliminate a lot of the things that keep a lot of people kind of sedentary and set back because they're focused on too much of the, in my opinion, just trivial things, right? So there's a collective goal we're all searching for, and we want to make sure we be able to hit that. So today we're going to dig out a couple of text points. Just recent course, over Brandon, you asked about a book about microeconomics, right? Some information on microeconomics, right? And of course, it's one I had for quite a while. A widely print, surrounding, course study. This is basic case study and course study information about microeconomics, right? The importance of that, especially when it comes to what we're dealing with now, because what's the elephant in the room? Inflation, right? We're dealing with inflation. And so there's elements to understanding the importance of, how microeconomics, well, the macro picture offers, but the micro picture has spun this somewhat out of control, window within the inflation, right? Where everybody gets to see it. Now everybody's seeing it for what it is, right? Before it was a little bit jaded, it was a little taboo. It was like there was people just hearing about it, but they didn't really think about it to the level where they feel like they wasn't really feeling it. Now they're feeling it because the gas prices is up, everything is up, cigarettes, whatever, right? Food, turkey, grits, chicken, whatever. Everything is kind of going up in price. Used cars, everything. So of course now you're like, okay, well, no, whoa, what's this about, right? The government need to do something about this, right? First thing you said, the government do something about this. Well, I would say, why wait on the government when you could do something for yourself? Have an ability to, again, advance your finances in some kind of form of a fashion, void of the government to help you pass some of this inflationary costs that we're dealing with now, close to that of stagflation. I think that's revolutionary. Where no matter how they try to make life a little tumultuous for us, well, we have backup plans. They're only effective if they feel like you're needy and clingy to them. See how that works? That's how governments work. They're only effective if they feel like the people, the citizens that's underneath them are clingy or needy of them. In actuality, you really don't need them. They're just, managers at the Mickey D's somewhere, really. They just telling everybody how to do this, when to do it, why to do it. You know what I'm saying? Silly stuff like that. Now, ordinarily, you would be able to do those things, again, on your own, given the capacity where you could say, hey, man, let me just go do my thing, right? I got this, right? I got this, right? So that's the mentality that we're trying to talk about here today. So again, behavior aspects of choices and bridging market fear with good judgment. Because right now, a lot of things we've been talking about since when we come on and do these sessions, or when we just doing impromptu stuff throughout the day live, or just inside of our natural circles, right? Discord, groups, whatever. A lot of what we're talking about is just, again, what's going on, right? What's happening in the space, right? These spaces that we hang out in, these quote unquote sacred spaces, right? All right. Because again, not only is it a value where we can kind of, I guess probably come up with a thesis to chase a bag or so, but what else is possible here? I mean, what else is plausible here is that we're also getting a crash course of what's going on in terms of what? Geopolitical things, right? The microeconomics on the ground level, and then the macroeconomics on the what? The larger scale, right? The world scale level, right? See, you're gaining so much knowledge, in passing, literally, right? And that's exciting. To me it is. I think it should be one of those things where you're like, you know what, it's good because I may not have had interest in this before because I didn't see how it had any relevance in my life, right? But yeah, you realize that this stuff does have relevance in your life, right? You talk about people who making decisions, over your livelihood, essentially, through policies, right? Good, bad, or indifferent, right? So yeah, you want to be able to counter that. You want to be able to counter that sometimes through other means, where it puts you in control. Y'all with me there, right? You being in control of opportunity is like larger than life. You guys got to understand that. You got to feel. You got to feel that. You're gonna have to feel that, right? You guys are gonna have to feel that because that's what we're trying to strive for here. And within that, we're trying to, in a lot of ways, understand the value of our behavior aspects, right? That we carry within us from former past life. I got to say it that way because, we kind of reformed, everything under the sun, right? When you come into the financial space, you still got all those things with you. Of course, they don't just leave, but you know how this stuff goes. You're dialing things down to dial certain things up, right? You see how that works? You're dialing down a lot of those things that are, kind of like, I can't really plug that into this, this plug and play scenario here, right? I need to dial this other part of me, up a little bit here, right? That's discipline. That is discipline in a basic level, right? So again, kind of jumping right on into it because again, as we always like to say, we're not gonna be on here long. What's going on, Oba Marquis? We see you in the back over on the YouTube side. Peace, power, profit, Oba. Happy to have you here. Again, everybody may be tuning in, listening. We appreciate your patronage, your ear. We appreciate who you are. Period. Let me say it that way. All right. What's going on, Oba Caesar? Peace, power, profit, Oba Jeremy. All right. Again, everybody in the building, brother Dondre, brother David, Oba Chris in the building, brother Brandon. Right. The whole vine. The whole. I was about to say the whole divine now, but the whole brother Divine Fuller, but the whole divine spectrum of who we are as people is what I was going to say. Right. Peace, power, and profit to you all, right? So, again, think about that, guys. As I said, you got to get your mind right, right? You got to get your mind right first, right? That's the first test in this, right? Because everybody could jump out there with a bag. If they got a little money, they could jump out there. But again, learning how to wield this thing, right? You grabbing the steering wheel at 8 years old, right? I got this, right? Barely could reach the gas pedal, but you got this, right? Or you want to give yourself a little time to grow into it, right? But our mind is already telling us we can make this happen, right? We can do this, right? But you still got to make sure you can relay it, in a relatable value to reality, right? Because again, markets are very enigmatic for a reason, even though they have a lot of symmetry and patterns and trends that we study about. They can also be very enigmatic too. Purposely too. That's the crazy part about it. It can be purposely that way because, there is a house in this. As odd as it's saying, because we're strategists, to the core within it, but there's also an element of this that does come with what, a flip of a coin kind of reality, void of the fundamental analysis, void of the technical analysis. So now we're just dealing with, kind of, one-off, scenarios from one moment to the next, right? Depending on, the bigger people who control a lot of the flow, right? We're talking market makers, we're talking banks, hedge funds, we're talking government, Federal Reserve, right? Their policies and mandate, the energy that it breeds in the average investor makes them feel either comfortable or, uneasy. Well, that's the part of the game where we're trying to figure out every day, where you have to adjust your behavior to meet that or exceed that. Because if not, you're going to try to go out there and kind of trade the market in the worst way, and it's going to make you pay. You have to pay a little tuition, right? And we're in the business of not wanting to pay more tuition than necessary. And this is more speaking to the traders now, as opposed to the investor, right? Because, we canvas both. We're not just coming here acting like we warrior traders, 101. This is not the message here. This is about understanding how to slow growth money, right? Now, a lot of people are like, well, I don't have all, a lifespan to kind of, walk this $100 into 100,000, right? Or whatever. Well, you ask yourself at the same breath, well, a lot of people didn't become millionaires until their late 50s and 60s. And they had all kinds of problems coming through their 20s and 30s and 40s, right? Jail setbacks, bankruptcies, losing houses, divorces, you name it. Bad credit. And then eventually a light bulb went off. See how that work? So convince me when it's, a person feel like, they're, that they're done if they feel like they didn't hit a certain aspect or goal at some point in their life, at a certain age point. That stuff doesn't fly well over here. Why? Because again, we're looking at these opportunities in these financial vehicles and stocks, and their growth trajectory shows you how a lot of these things just rocketed literally in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, depending on their use case. That's an explosion of opportunity in terms of a monetary infusion in a person's life. You being disciplined enough to realize that and then go act on it, that's legendary. That's legendary. Right? It ain't proving how strong you can hold on the block, but you being able to take this, build something, that's legendary. See, there's a respect that comes along with this. A lot of people may not give it to you a lot because a lot of times they don't understand it, so they don't know how to rate you, right? But for the most part, you know exactly what you're doing. You know what you're doing. In essence, that you're saying, look, I'm sitting there following, I'm following the money, right? Through the primary source reference point. Some people go out and do it through the job scenario, right? They working their way through it, right? Still synonymous in some cases, not all, because again, you have more equilibrium here as an investor trader because you're not sitting there trying to figure out, the time that you got to give Mr. Charlie, is it comparable to you feeling like you could be focused on something more, engaging, right? Financially engaging, right? Entrepreneur minded, endeavors. So your behavior has to accept those choices, then say, okay, even if I'm giving Mr. Charlie 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours a day, I'm going to make sure I give myself at least a minimum. If I give Mr. Charlie 8, I got to give myself at least a minimum of 2. Minimum of 2. Because you can't keep dialing you down to dial up somebody else's dreams. Again, Mr. Charlie rolls up in the job. The first thing he gonna say is what? He gonna roll up in that nice little Lambo, that Bugatti, that Murcielago, whatever, right? Pagani, whatever, right? Everybody gonna come outside the factory, be like, "Oh, this is nice, Mr. Charlie, this is nice." Mr. Charlie, yeah, if you keep your nose clean, work hard, and be to work on time and everything else, guess what? I'll get the new update edition next year. Ooh, that hurt. Oof. I thought you were gonna say I'll be able to get one, Mr. Charlie. No, see, that ain't how this works, right? This is not how this works. See how that works? So you can't keep giving Mr. Charlie all that, and you don't give yourself, at least a quarter of that or a third of that what you gave them, for your own edification. Of course, we say autodidact, but it's the same thing. You're just trying to figure out ways to grow your bottom line, to stick to your dreams and hopes and goals and all that ambition that we have at some point. We don't want that to be lost in the sauce. Make sense? Right? So behavior aspects and choice. What's going on, Ober Rich in the building? See you popped in the building. Peace, power, and profit to you as well. All right, our brother Jammin Curtis in the building. Brother Jay in the building. What's going on, family? Peace, power, and profit to you guys as well. Right? So, that's what we're going to talk about here this evening, guys. Like I said, we're going to get in, make it happen. We're going to get on out of here. Because I know you guys preparing for this, Indian Harvest Day next week. Again, I got to keep saying that, right? Shout out to Indian Harvest Day next week, right? I know y'all going to say I'm a pseudo, right? Because, man, no such thing, no Indian Harvest Day. Well, what is it then? It's Thanksgiving? Oh. Well, who told you Thanksgiving? Oh, they did. Mr. Charlie them told you that, huh? Okay. You a paper chaser. You got Thanksgiving on lock. Like snow, right? Indian Harvest Day, all right? Next week, right? So again, do enjoy it if you're hanging out with your family, though, making a little fun, you're having a little fun, all right? So again, let's go to a quick little diagram here. I just want to show you just some ideas of what we're talking about here when we talk about the aspects of microeconomics, right? And it's weird when you asked me that, Oprah Brandon, I was thinking about a lot of that stuff in general too, because we speak about monetary policy and how the importance of it, right? The trickle down effect of how the Feds, what they're doing through the reverse repo operation, and their this fiscal policy that they're doing through the, buying bonds and mortgage-backed securities. I mean, it's a daily dose, right? It's a steady dose of backstopping markets, right? Just again, they can't fathom not being having their hands on the joystick, or the controller, this PSC5 controller of the stock market. To me, I can't think of, for the love of me, how a lot of people can't see that or accept the value to realize that these people are preying on people who have not, and they're telling you in your face that they're concerned about what those who don't have. Like, make that make sense, right? Well, your policies doesn't reflect that. My pocketbook ain't getting any fatter. my pay raise ain't going through the roof like it should in terms of my work. So how you care? But with the flip of a switch, billions of dollars can go into the stock market, billions, and we're talking about hundreds of billions, trillions. We can't. It's so crazy now because we've been dealing with all this, quantitative easing and this idea that since COVID, right? You've been hearing this word, these trillion dollar terminology things thrown around a lot. A lot of us probably can't remember last time we were really even thinking about having a conversation about $1 trillion, right? We say millions and billions here, but that is a part of our daily lexicon now. Like $1 trillion, right? $1 trillion. Yeah, they dumped $1 trillion, right? They got $1 trillion. Like, where did stuff come from? Now we focusing on in $1 trillion increments, right? Like, this is crazy. $1 trillion. All right, there was some number out there. Somebody put out some stat that a certain amount of like hundreds of billions of dollars would be enough to feed everybody on the planet, or every starving person. And you got a lot of these central bankers, they printing trillions, diluting their currency and just throwing it into equity markets and under the property markets and bond markets and stuff like that. Could make this stuff up, right? And so the pushback is that, well, no, the government shouldn't have no kind of be in everybody's business and let people become successful on their own right and this, that, and third, blah blah blah. Okay, you gotta keep in mind when you get behind a scenario like that, like if you start cheerleading behind like an Elon Musk, make sure you're cheerleading for all the right reasons as opposed to the wrong. You don't make that kind of money and be naive and just brainwashed and slow and dumb. There's a reason why he's worth 200 some odd billion dollars on paper, because that exonerates him from what? Taxes, right? So essentially, yeah, if he don't cash out, he ain't to worry about paying these ridiculous tax rates. He can sit and wait out a whole entire presidency to find a president that's more favorable to his tax incentive value, and then cash out some of his stocks. Then let that marinate. They can wait people out. They can wait the government out. They can wait policies out, and then cash out, and they still be loaded, filthy rich. Let that marinate for a moment. So essentially, yeah, a lot of them are dodging paying their fair share. You don't have that luxury. Just notice that. Just make sure y'all understand that. Y'all don't have that luxury. But they hitting that FICA, their Social Security, they tapping it. 1099, easy 1040, whatever you dealing with, right? they coming, right? They coming to get it. Because they know you're the most, you're the easiest thing that they can pluck first, right? Because you have this endemic perspective of needing employment, right? So they can easily just pull it straight out of that because the IRS is already connected to your employer, unlike a shareholder, right? Unlike a person who owns stocks. See how that works? That's the difference, right? Or people who own crypto. That's the difference. Even though they're trying to come for it, but y'all know my point. They can't tax you if you don't hit that sell button. And there's other ways around it because you got Roth, right? You got stuff like that you can play into now, contribute and just be on that per annum basis where you kind of avoid the taxation. You can play ball when you learn a little bit, about the game. Is my point. But that comes through with understanding, the choices, right? Right? And within that, eliminating the fear, right? Eliminating fear. Because a lot of people are afraid of this because they feel like it's a complex industry in a lot of ways because it's dealing with money. Like, make that make sense. You telling people who used to money, find a way to make money, been, trapping in money. Now all of a sudden they can't understand this aspect of money. Like, make that make sense to me. And these people are people who are highly, consumer-minded individuals, right? They got to find the things, right? Or they want to find the thing, right? And they could be in the most, uneasy of places, but they still got the finest things in those uneasy places, right? You see what I'm saying? It's crazy. So at some point, you got to break that fear, right? You got to bridge that. You got to learn. You got to understand. You buy the Apple iPhone. You use it for X, Y, Z. You become a mastery of that item in a lot of ways. You understand the value of it through how seeing everybody else may have it, and you say, well, what's the margin on that? How much they're making off every cell phone, right? You have this conversation sometimes. We all do. I'm like, man, I just come out better investing in the company or making my own phone. That's when that's when the light bulb goes off. That's your epiphany moment, right? That's your stock investor epiphany moment. Don't silence it. I repeat, do not silence it. Get after it. Get after it in that moment, right? Because again, therein lies where you'll realize, what's this stuff is all about. How does this stuff really factor into your daily bread? Literally, right? So, using some of these models or these case studies in play, right? Understanding, some basic components of this stuff, right? Right? The importance of that, right? Right. So you got introduction to microeconomics, right? This is just an overview of this particular book here. This is on microeconomics, but the importance of it, how it flows into what we deal with every day as investors and traders, right? Right. And this is on the case study side too. This is a Wiley book. So this is a university perspective or spec, right? But it's still traditionally, equally as essential for us, who are, business owners, whomever, entrepreneurs, financial literate people who invested in the markets, crypto, whatever, because it's still all a part of the microcosm of what? Economics, right? That's why we say microeconomics and the macroeconomics. It's all synonymous, right? So within understanding microeconomics, right, you're trying to understand some basic, parameters, right? In this case, we just, kind of blowing through this. We don't spend a lot of time on it. But it says, as within the overview, it says what? Overview, introduction to constrained, right? To constrained optimization, equilibrium analysis, and comparative static analysis, right? Now, none of that stuff should go over any of you guys' head because it's, you know what you're dealing with, right? The word salads, constrained optimization, equilibrium analysis, and comparative static analysis, all that stuff right there sound good, but it all reverts back to one thing. What is that one thing, right? Let me circle it for you if you're having any problems. Economics. And more importantly, right, when you splice that thing down the front, right, the prefix from the suffix, right, y'all know that stuff, root word and all that, that word, microeconomics, right, a miniature version of economics, right, breaking it down, right, in the bits and pieces, like coding of economics, right, the micro aspect of it, right. This is the matrix, right. You calling it operator pull you through the cell phone and move with the matrix, right. They break you down into what, in the binary code and the bits and this and energy, and they're pulling you through the y'all get. So don't get caught up in the word salad. Just realize that all these things can be defined through Webster, right? You know what they're saying in so many ways by understanding exactly what the topic is. It's economics, the micro aspect of economics, the minutia, right? Introduction to demand curves, supply curves, market equilibrium, and elasticity, right? Well, we're dealing with a lot of stuff right now. Demand curves, are we not? Inflation, damn. Supply curves, inflation, damn. That's the CPI and the PPI right there in one statement. That's the CPI, Consumer Price Index, and the Producer Price Index in one little statement right there. Demand curves and supply curves. What's happening with our supply market right now? It's all over the place, right? It's all over the place. And the government or, the White House can't seem to understand what's causing the problem. It's always easy to revert back to the excuse making and saying, okay, it's what? It's COVID. Well, what are the policies y'all have set forth to kind of make sure it's not COVID? How's that working out? Oh, it's not. Or it's not effective. Huh? Oh, so now you always get to revert back to what? It's it's because of the pandemic. It's the COVID. See, that's how their aspect of what dealing with this works in terms of they have a fallback. You don't get to miss days off from work, being sick every single day for 2 weeks straight and just say, this is some lingering cold that I just can't shake. Eventually you're gonna get replaced, or they're gonna like, they're gonna what, like, nah, we just can't, this right here just ain't gonna work, right? Well, government, they can play that role and they can play that game. They can keep kicking the can down the road, right? Because they know ultimately today you're dependent upon their decision making to somewhat float your life. Well, that's what we're trying to change here. That's the importance of understanding where you fit into the microeconomic picture that makes up this macro perspective or linear value of growth and opportunity on a global scale. So demand curves ain't nothing that you can't fathom. You're seeing it right now because what? Stores shelves empty and all kind of stuff like that is it's more expensive and this that and the third. You're feeling it right at the pump at the cash register. You're starting to see it. And the supplier, well, guess what? They're in the same conundrum because they need to figure out if the cost of these goods and services are going up for them to produce and to sell them to you, right? They're going to have to do one or two things: increase their margin, or go down with the ship until this thing gets straightened out. And 9 times out of 10, if they are under the mindset of capitalism in terms of American mindset, you think they're going to side on the side of the customer or with their pocketbook? I'll wait. Right? Of course, they're going to side on their pocketbook, right? And that's why you're going to have what? Margin increase, which a lot of these companies are starting to tell you that right now, right? We done all we could trying to carry the cost. Now we're going to have to pass that cost off to y'all. And it's showing through the consumer staple side of things, right? XLY, XLP, consumer discretionary items. You're going to carry that cost during this holiday season. People run out the stores to shop. They're going to feel some of those higher prices, right? They're going to market blitz you like they always do. Marketing blitz you. And then, make you feel as if you can handle it. Y'all, you can do it. You can, like you can handle it. You can spare it. Y'all know people out there like, you can handle it, right? Could make this stuff up. So you realizing this stuff is important because now your decision making when it comes to investing in the markets or crypto, again, any kind of asset class, you'll know how to delineate the players. And you'll also understand the importance of, if we say it from that perspective, right? The understanding of what they call fair value, right? Fair value or fair valuations, right? On the micro side and also on the macro. Again, if they're long-term outlooks that they're projected for growth to be, blah, 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 right? Right now it's kind of, right, right there. Well, they're not so much focused on the micro as much as, they feel like probably the average investor is, or the average consumer or retail person sitting around watching that stuff is. They're always going to be concerned about the long, the long haul, the long road. Why? Because they're trying to map out money well into the future and being able to compete with a lot of their competitors beyond just a day-to-day your arm wrestling contest, so to speak. Well, you have to understand that as an investor, you have to make that a part of your game too. Your ground game have to be just as solid, right, as your air game, your hang time game, right? Right, from one of my Air Jordans out there, right? But y'all know what I mean. That's a parable perspective there when I say hang time, meaning you being able to last in this. And again, and think about, okay, putting a couple dollars up for a rainy day. When before you being more comfortable just feeling like, well, I'm gonna blow this, right? I'm gonna just blow this. I figure out a way to make it back. Now you're starting to realize what? Your fair value. The importance of your money, right? So that's important, right? And that's just an introduction to understanding the value of microeconomics. Now, we didn't talk about monetary policies and, M1, M2, all that stuff. We went through a lot of central bankers, but we reprise some of this stuff and go back over them again for a reason, right? Revisit them. We have to because it's a part of keeping your steel sharpened steel, keeping your swords sharpened, right? So consumer theory, right? Moving to the next block, right? Consumer choice. There it is right there. Again, consumer choice. Y'all say Thanksgiving, I say Indian Harvest Day. Me, the consumer of the opportunity, right? Hey, Indian Harvest Day. Consumer choice, right? But y'all get my point. I know I'm making light of it, but y'all know what I'm saying, right? Budget lines, right? Understanding that budget lines. right? Utility maximization. Oh, excuse me, maximization. Excuse me. I didn't even talk to that. Right? Utility maximization. Right? Well, the importance of utility maximization is very important. Now, where my crypto people at? Right? Right? Utility tokens, utility opportunities out there within the crypto space. Right? Them being able to leverage that to not get swept under the rug is that they're just kind of any other altcoin, right? They're all jockeying for space, right? Because we know the big dog in terms of Bitcoin getting all the shine, right? Now, its technology behind Bitcoin as a whole in terms of the blockchain is great, but its use case value of what Bitcoin actually does in itself is actually antiquated, technology. It's slow, it's cumbersome, it takes, they relinquish a lot of the gas price, it takes to kind of move the aspect of, but it's still a slow, clunky, cumbersome tech in essence to that of like Ethereum, right? Ether, right? ERC20, right? Y'all know I'm a big fan of ERC20 for a reason, right? Smart contracts. That's what everybody want in the private sector now. They want it. They want it. Big companies want that ERC20 perspective, right? Even with layered security, know your client, KYC, all that stuff, just we're dealing with right now with the NFT explosion, the metaverse, all that stuff, right? Decentraland and all that stuff. All that stuff is powered behind the value of smart contracts, ERC20. Use case, utility. See how that work? So a lot of these little tokens are starting to get their maximization a little bit. Now they're starting to get their well-known attention because now you get this, you sift through all the what? They call them the crap coins. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They call all the crap coins. You decipher through the crap coins to find the real coins. Now you got something that you can work with, right? Just thought I'd put that in there, right? So again, moving on. So budget lines, utility maximization, and analysis of revealed preference, right? Analysis of revealed preference. Very important, right? Well, we understand that, right? When you're dealing with stocks and investments or any kind of value of investment, right? Right? Again, we're talking about interest here, permanent interest, or that of an interest that, inherently force you to dig a little deeper. Your methodology, your research, you have to dig a little bit. And in doing so, you may come up with what? A revealed value of purpose may begin to kind of reveal itself to you. That's important. That's a part of microeconomics. That's a part of you understanding how entrepreneurs, find their niche or their niche, right? As I like to say, find your own niche or your own niche in this, but steal from everybody. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? A lot of this information is, again, literally is free 99. That's why you gotta find your own niche in this, your own niche, but steal from everybody, bits and pieces. Add it to your chink, your armor, and just keep building out till it makes sense to you. Right? So moving on. So comparative static of consumer choice and consumer surplus, right? Comparative statics of consumer choice and consumer surplus, right? That's very important dealing with what? Supply chains and all this stuff as well. Or the lack, or the value of demand and supply. Right? Well, you got all these ships out the port right now in LA and every around the place, and people are like, man, just because, it's a myriad of reasons why they're out there. A lot of these, these people who own these containers, this, that, third, who made them, right, or the end, person who's waiting to receive them, right, the company themselves, or if they got goods and services out there too, they need to put in the hand of the customer. Of course, we understand what's going on there, right? If they bottleneck it enough, that's gonna make what go up. Meaning they keep those things out there long as they can to the point where people just can't take it anymore. Eventually, what's going to happen to the consumer? Right? It's going to go from a comparative statics of consumer choice to a comparative dynamics. It's going to be comparative dynamics of the consumer choice, right? Because, eventually demand's going to go up, right? Eventually, right? Demand's going to go up. But once that floodgate opens up, when people feel like, if they feel like they got limited choices, then of course it's a very, static perspective. When they feel like they got more choices, then it becomes more dynamic, right? It's broad, right? Well, that's what a lot of these suppliers may be also doing. They understand a lot of stuff that's going on right now with inflation. If they keep building up demand like a bubble, eventually when they cut these products loose and this, that, the third, guess what? You be willing to pay for anything for this stuff. You'll be so get it. You'll be willing to pay anything. So they playing into that aspect of your what? Your ability to feel like you got to have and want and to consume things too. So you got to make sure you realize that too. So that way you don't what? You don't overly extend yourself for things that are not worth the value of what they're being what paraded as. That's a part of understanding microeconomics as well. It's all relative, right? So production and cost theory, right? Production function, marginal, and average product and returns to scale, right? Production function, marginal, and average product, right? Just we could put that sum that up in kind of one little scenario in a lot of ways, right? Right? Tesla, right? Right? Tesla, right? Spell it Tesla. It's Tesla, right? They have pricing power. Elon raises the prices a lot for a lot of these cars. Sometimes he drops the price. He can continuously do that over and over and over, and he'll still have the level of demand because he built up a demand in his product because of the value of what, right? His product is different than the average product. His technology is different than the average car out there on the road. He has pricing power. He has marginal power, functioning marginal power, right? The base scale is Ford and GM and Chrysler, all that stuff. Y'all get my point. The base cars like that, the gas car, the ICE vehicle, all that stuff, the base scale. Get your Toyota, whatever. You choosing from there like that. Now we start thinking about the fact then, the value of EVs, right? No gas, no maintenance, all that stuff. The cost that you pay for maintenance on the cars is limited to that of just what they call, wear and tear stuff. But you got putting liquids in there, stuff that frictional things that can cause problems. All this stuff is out the gate. Now you just dealing strictly with what? Electricity. That lessens a lot of things that you have to deal with, right? You know that you're getting and quote unquote to a degree, an aspect of a product, a marginal, a functioning product that gives you a little bit more wiggle room to do things outside of having to worry about your transmission breaking down or timing belt slipped off or your power steering fluid leaking. You get my point? I'm sure y'all with me there, but I'm just using these analogies for a reason because that's a part of understanding how production and cost theory scenario work. When you're dealing with these companies, you have to think about that as an investor. You're gonna have to be able to put that into context too. Yeah, the stock looks good, or it might be this, or it might be that. But yeah, what do a lot of the numbers are saying right now? Are you giving them, the same kind of leeway that most of the analysts are doing when they're throwing around these ridiculous price targets for some of these companies? And they're already overbought, and they got PEs, that of 3 to 4 or 5 times that of their nearest competitor. That means they already been priced into the future about a 4 or 5 multiple than that of their nearest competitor. That means it's finally priced. That means they have to work into that growth or into that valuation. Unless you like a company like Tesla, because what's moving that? A lot of what? Coatish demand. Coatish demand. Not even from the fact that they can even probably afford the car. They just like the value that they can what? They can play within the vast aspect of the stock, right? The stock gives them that value of the EV that they ghost EV, right? Because it's gonna move, right? It's gonna move. But that's a part of understanding the behavior aspects of choices too. As I'll do, right, Roaring Kitty, right? When he went before Congress, the whole idea with Robin Hood and Citadel and Melvin Capital, all those guys, y'all remember that with GameStop? What did he get up there and say before the Congress? When they went to asking him questions about, why he invested in GameStop, what make him want to invest in GameStop? What did he say before Congress? Very subdued and erect in a pompous way. I like the stock. That's all he has to say. That's his right. Because he's finding the value in it, in its own value, and that's all that matters at the end of the day as an investor. You have that right. They cannot shun you from that, take that away from you. They can't bar you from that. You have that right. That's a function of value of you being able to make executive decisions about your money. Based upon these financial vehicles, these stocks, whatever, crypto, whatever. As long as you understand the rules of engagement, I say, hey, get after it. Don't just jump out there. understand what's going on, get after it. Make sense? All right. So that stuff is important. Right. So moving down, concept of cost, input choice, and cost minimization. Right. Very important. Concept of cost, input choice, and cost of minimization. A lot of that is detailed around, as you say, proof of stake, proof of concept, right? A lot of that was very big in the ICO world back in the day before they ran all the ICOs out of town, where all these people just scamming, right? They want you to pay for the concept, like a concept card. Just think about it. Back in the day, right? You go to Card Magazine, they have all these concept cards in there, right? Like, man, I wonder what that card will look like in the future. Well, guess what? A lot of those cards back then are now here in some kind of form or fashion. True story. And a lot of them are not. True story. Right? And how they've been influenced by what? Society. The social, the sociology aspect of, how we, survive around one another, how we feed off each other's gifts and talents. And we model our choices behind that. That's input choice. And then cost minimization basically what that means. Again, how can I get this at the most, minimum cost value? How can we scale this down to a very minimum cost perspective so we can produce, mass margins of it, mass values of it to have a big margin increase off of it, pricing power, essentially. Right now, that's starting to happen with Mondelez, with Oreo cookies and all this stuff. That stuff finna go up next year. Here in January, Mondelez, they already said they're finna raise the price on all this stuff. So guess what? Guess what people doing right now? They out there hoarding products right now. They're trying to buy them early, in effect, to try to get ahead of the curve of inflation potentially getting worse. See how that works? Behavior aspects of choices right there. Understanding that microeconomics can become a bigger macroeconomic value or problem if they don't move now and move swiftly. A lot of these companies' earnings reports are starting to reflect that this level of demand that's in retail. It's not so much that people just flush with cash and just spending money because they do. Are we back, Mortimer? We back, Mortimer? No, these people are trying to get ahead of inflation getting worser. So of course they're sacrificing to buy things early now, right? Especially when it's coming up on the holiday season, because prices are going to fluctuate to a more of a superior value of being cheaper now, obviously, quote unquote. Yeah, but anyway, they buying stuff early so they have to deal with paying higher prices next year when the prices go up. But the government will spend that and say, guess what? See, the consumers flush with cash. They just spending money. They just doing it. No, they're not. These people trying to get ahead of y'all bad policy. Stop playing. See how that work? So you all have to be able to recognize that too. Whether you participate in these holidays or you don't, you still got to realize that everything that you relinquish out your pocket to go into some kind of value of an item, it has to have, you got to understand the concept of the cost value within it. The budget line utilization maximization aspect of it, right? Analysis of reveal preference and things that you will get over other stuff because it's a better bang for your buck. This is you understanding microeconomics, right? So that's the importance of this stuff. Right? And then down here, 30 says construction of total average and marginal cost curves, right? Very self-explanatory in that perspective, right? You're trying to be a player in spaces where there's already some big dogs here. You trying to get in and get your share of the pie. And if you got something that's niche enough, but it's great enough that people the demand is high for it, guess what? You also can have a little bit of what? Right? Pricing power. On marginal cost curves, right? You can throttle up or you can throttle it down. But if it keeps you in the business where you're gonna run out of business, if you throttle it down, if you can afford to draw the prices down and run them back up, again, based upon trying to keep your demand or your customer clientele excited, then yeah, you'll be able to survive. Again, Tesla's good for that. They're using them as as that case study, right? Yeah, you guys with me so far? I know I'm just kind of going through my little diatribe here. Y'all with me? And everybody in the training here, y'all with me? You guys with me?
For sure.
Yeah. Follow me? Is it making sense a little bit? Is it starting to ring a bell with you guys a little bit? What's going on here?
Yes, sir.
Right. It's important because you guys have to realize a lot of your financial decisions, especially around the markets or crypto or any other investment or asset class perspective, you're gonna have to learn how to delineate this, a lot of this stuff. You can do this stuff. You already do it on so many ways. This stuff ain't over our people head when I say that, because you only hear about these things on conference calls and you sitting there, on the board, you reading the slide and you hear people using all this terminology. Yeah, I know. Break that down, labor term. Okay, that's what that means. Yeah, I kind of know what y'all doing. Right? So nothing outside of the realm of what we deal with anyway, especially in the markets, right? When you're reading the SEC filing form and all this kind of terminology, and you kind of know what to get to the meat of it. Are y'all doing an offering or you're not, right? 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 You finna dilute the shares or you're not. What you finna do? Which one is it? Right? You finna do reverse split or you're not, right? You're gonna ramp production or you're not. Again, you see what I'm saying? It comes to a square value at the end of the day, but it has to be kind of put into that whole complexity, right? So again, move to the next one really quick here. I'm gonna get through this real quick. Perfectly competitive markets, right? Profit maximizing output choice by price taking firm, right? And prices in short run and long run equilibrium. Now that sounds like a mouthful, right? That sounds like a mouthful. Profit maximizing output choice, right? So just break it down slowly when you're reading through that stuff. Profit maximizing output choice, right? Learning when to scale, when not to scale. Again, when to throttle, when not to throttle, right? By they say profit maximizing output choice by price taking firm, right? Right? That could be a hedge fund, a fund manager, a mutual fund, or a pension plan community, right? They're trying to figure out if we're going to invest. Man, it's weird too, because speaking of that, that's a a mutual fund or some kind of I want to say it's a Christian economic group. They're trying to enact a ETF called Pray. Couldn't make this stuff up, guys. I don't know if y'all seen. Did y'all see that by the chance? Or I'm the only one that saw it. All right, just like this LGBTQIA, whatever that stuff is on LGBT, the rainbow side, they even got stuff for church folk too. Well, you can literally invest in.
Called Pray.
It's called Pray. They trying to enact one called Pray. PRAY. Couldn't make this stuff up. Could not make this stuff up. But they gonna be all deep in that King James and all that stuff. But they gonna be, and they gonna have stock out there called King James III. Well, you're gonna go all in on that. That's my scripture right there, boy. That's my scripture. I don't care if I lose money, but I'm gonna sow a seed. Well, look at him. They better get some context. They better get some context. But it's called Pray. Look this stuff up, guys. Just look. It's called Pray. So again, that's a part, again, choice stuff too. That's consumer. When you look at the people like, man, somebody, they religious people, but they consumers too. Yeah. And then now getting a chance to operate within the investment space, through their own interests, right? We talked about it before, right? There's only permanent interests, right? Those things that get you out of bed every day, that get you excited about wanting to learn something different and new. It's your interest level. You have to be willing to dial you down a lot of that, and upgrade a lot of, these opportunities to increase your knowledge bank. Behavior aspects of choices, right? Again, going back to the title of tonight's discussion or a portion of it. So it's important, right? So price taking firms, profit maximize output choice by price taking firm and prices in short run and long run equilibrium. So we know about the short thesis and the long thesis. But the equilibrium is what? Being balanced, right? Being balanced. Either in them both or being balanced in the investment. So you don't have all of it overly leveraged in that perspective of understanding that markets are what? They fluctuate. They ebb and flow with the market, right? This peak to trough. The market is what? One big sine wave, right? One big water wave and noon, right? We get that. The equilibrium only comes to what? A moment of understanding when it reaches what? The gun line, right? Tell them about the gun line, boss, right? So the wave of noon would be like this right here, right? Waters of noon, right? Which is a sine wave, right? The equilibrium is what? Once we hit that midpoint. You know what I'm saying? If your money can stay at that midpoint, but keep in mind, this is on what they call a horizontal scale, right? Obviously, it's not longitudinal, but it is longitudinal because we think about longitudinal aspect of investment that your money is going, what you making money, right? So although that's a straight line, it really be more drawn like this right here, right? Let me clear all this stuff off. It'll be more so drawn like this right here. Y'all with me there? And then your equilibrium would be what? It's gaining value and it's going up into the what? It's going up into the what? Yeah, our favorite saying is going up into the what?
Up and to the right.
Up into the right. How many, what degrees angle? What degrees angle?
45 degrees.
45 degrees. Come through over. Right? Let's go. That's equilibrium in the markets. Does it make sense? That's good investment decisions that you're making. Understanding wavering aspects of economies, how products go up, go down, companies go out of business, some stay alive, some big dog, eat little dog, right? Big bank, take little bank. All that stuff matters. But this is equilibrium when it's going up and to the right. On that, ebb and flow, sine wave reality. That's profit. I mean, that's equal, right, to what? Generating what? Profit maximizing. Be it a short-term run, right? Short-term run would be what? Catch it on the spurt, got him, right? Sell into the supply or take a little bit off the table, right? And then soon when she what? Kind of roll back over a little bit, right? You catch that what? That demand zone, right? Right now we're dealing with what? A demand problem, right? Well, not a demand problem, but a supply problem, right? So a lot of us is at the sell point of this thing because like we run out of supply because the supply chain issue. Demand is still there, but we're gonna have to allow things to kind of balance themselves out. So within doing so, inflationary aspects of these numbers of commodities are gonna run the prices up, right? Right? It's gonna run the prices up. Demand's still gonna be there, but a lot of people are gonna be priced out of being able to afford that stuff because of margin pressure, right? Having marginal, basically margin power, being able to maximize it. Eventually, they drive the cost down maybe at some point, right? And then you'll be able to kind of get back in down here on this side, but it's always gonna be a part. That's the equilibrium, right? Down here, you definitely gonna buy, right? You definitely gonna buy down here, and then you just ride the wave all over again, right? Wash, rinse, repeat, as they say, right? Get back to that gun line. Oh, we back to business again. Oh, it's time to what? It's time to play ball, right? So again, that's you understand that a perfectly competitive markets, which they should be, right? So we know that to be what, right? What's the two schools of law that we talk about a lot when it comes to economics? What are the two schools? One starts with a K.
Keynesian, Austrian.
And Austrian, right? Keynesian. What is the Keynesian economic law, school of law? Paraphrase. Somebody give a paraphrase version. What is the Keynesian side? What is the Keynesian side of governments? Anybody want to tackle that? So that basically means that the government's in control of your what? Fiscal policies or your markets, your quote unquote, your marketplace is being controlled by government interests. Essentially, they're being manipulated, right? The markets are now manipulated. They're not so much free markets where the markets have to kind of decide who the winners and losers are, as they say what? Right? As the saying goes, right? Sink or swim. Y'all have heard that before, right? Y'all ain't new. Y'all ain't no spring chickens, right? The saying is what? Sink or swim. What does that mean? That means you have to make the proper decision to be able to what? Stay afloat in this and grow within this equilibrium of what? Of short run and long run values and bring them to maximize your profit through these companies. Or you're gonna what? You're gonna sink because you acting on what? Too much emotion. You're not well studied. You're not prepared, etc., etc. That don't make you bad. That just means that you having to go through what? Fine tuning your craft until what? All the light bulbs go off. Right? You go through a point where you start to fine tune your craft. Once you fine tune your craft, guess what? Game on. Player one, right? Player one, game on. Let's go. Right? See how that work? So you guys are not, again, you're the only people judging you in this, or the only people that should be judging you in this is yourself. No one else can judge you in this. You're taking this journey to learn a lot of different moving parts to this that makes up the global markets as they on the macro picture. But the minutiae, again, as they say, the devil's in the detail. That's the microeconomics of this.
Hey,
And now how you
October.
get, oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Well, I just wanted to ask: would you consider MMT as a third school of macroeconomics or economics?
It probably could fit into the narrative of that. Share it with the family. That much of it that you know about it.
Well, basically, it's just going with the philosophy that as long as we could print our own money, we'll always be able to make our payments on debt.
So, in essence, which we're doing now, right?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So it's under the umbrella of the what? The Keynesian rule book. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they're in
Government.
control. See, we don't get to go up there and hit them buttons, right? They let us go in and hit them switches. Y'all know they're gonna be everybody gonna have a bag in the hood, right? Just only in the hood though, right? We could be dropping bags out like a criminal in the hood, right? It's the same thing that they're doing though, right? They're financing debt, which is actually unconstitutional, right? You can't monetize debt. That's not the Fed job to monetize debt. That eliminates the whole idea of a free market. You see what I'm saying? You bailing everybody out. But since who they bailing out? You? Me? Us? No, they bailing out who? People who got what? Margin power, pricing power, right? Who got big resources, richer. They got riches. You see how that work? That's the Keynesian side of it.
Not to mention that they're bailing them out with our future money.
That part. And they rub it in your face. Again, they give you a golden shower and telling you that they just throwing lemonade in the crowd. Is how that work?
Yeah,
if you didn't know any better, you would fall for it. You see what I'm saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But they just keep fooling a lot of people all the time. And people ain't woke up yet. And they will still vote against their own interests. And they will fight for people like Elon, who super wealthy, than that of their own ability to have ability to come up. Because they feel like there's power in reveling behind that aspect of success. I'm reveling behind the technological genius that he provides. I don't care about all the other stupid, goofy stuff that he about. Me personally. It's funny in passing, but that's as far as it goes, because I'm my own man, right? You got to be able to accept that, he just whatever. And he leveraging his what? His opportunities. Right? There's a system obviously designed to really help him too. Again, y'all get my point. Let's keep 100. We men on here tonight, right? And women in the back on the side. Y'all get it. So we know that, right? They can't put the wool over our eyes. We're here to, obviously eliminate that inconsistent value where we just, we done with that. That stuff was fine when we was in grade school, whatever. You get a little old, you start realizing, nah, I'm the king, right? I'm the pappy, right? I'm the pappy. I's the daddy. That's my baby, that boss. Yeah, y'all up. See what I'm saying? We bigger than that. We better than that. So yeah.
Oh, can I ask you another question?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, definitely. I'm training.
Yeah. It's I've been trying to just figure out like how are we gonna balance, right? Being in a pandemic, printing, record amounts of money, raising wages, doing, again, like these social spending things that we're doing, all without having inflation.
Well, see, that's just it. See, this ain't nothing new to them. They've been down this road before. See, they could be wrong and still be right. You with me there? They could be purposely wrong and still be right. Why? Because all along, initiative was that we're going to stimulate those who already got asset, because people who have asset make bigger what? They're bigger what? Influencers, right? They're the bigger what? The bigger donors, the bigger lobbyists, right? They really shape and form and mold policy through their what? Their money. Y'all remember when Obama ran for president? And it's like, the reason why I didn't do a whole lot for black people because, I didn't put no money together. But guess who came to Obama with money? The LGBTQIA, whatever that stuff called. They came to Obama with a bag. They got their agendas met. Latino people, right? Latino people, whatever, or whatever, right? They start showing up with what? A bag. And not having an entitlement of saying, my vote should count, right? That kind of, child's play mentality. They showed up with a bag. They start getting some of their policies met. See how that work? Lobbyists hang around Washington like parasites. You in the area, Open Marquis too, so you know how this stuff work in this area, right?
Definitely.
It's like Johns, Marks, and excuse my language, pimps and all that out here, but with suits, but they're in dignitary form, and they got suits on, and they they leveraged up, right, with key players, blackmail portfolios, all that. They got all that. They come to town to play ball. They come to the Corporation of America to play ball.
And a lot of them actually go back and forth between the public and private sector. Like they'll go to the public just to make their connections, get their stuff right. Then they'll go to the private. That's where the bag is at.
Yeah. That's part of what we just talked about here, right? Understanding, production function and marginal average product and returns to scale, right? Using that aspect of within that, that perspective, of power in a lot of ways, right? Analyzing what's going on in around, the social dynamic of this country, right? Like everybody know what Jeff Soros, what are they, George Soros? Everybody know what George Soros whole modus operandi is. Like everybody know what he do now. Behind the scene, all he is a what? Is an amplifier of what? Social issues. He played both sides. Again, we talked about it before. He do what? He distributes to what? Y'all know we talked about this a lot. He distributes to what? He distributes to what? I'm writing it out. He distributes to what? Y'all supposed to know this. Say again?
Bullets and the bandages.
He distributes the bullets and the bandages. Does he not? He plays both sides and benefits off both. Black Lives Matter gave them millions and millions of dollars, then turn around and fund the police. And stuff like on that perspective.
Yeah, I was watching these documentaries that were just talking about how these, banking families have historically done that by like they would get bonds from both of these countries as warring to supply them, and both people had to pay them, but whoever won, they really came up.
That's how this stuff works. Destabilization, right? You can't have growth without what? Without chaos, right? Or without having the need to build something, right? To get people on board, right? Again, this stuff is so. Again, I didn't have to be in the military to even know this stuff too, because they teach the stuff, whatever. But y'all know this stuff from just being in y'all average neighborhood. Y'all know what's going on. Y'all see it firsthand.
I feel bad. I guess I should have told you
right?
about your mom.
Y'all know what's going on here. So it ain't far-fetched to kind of be able to make the connection. You have to be poised enough and patient enough to see these things for what they are and act accordingly, right? Because I always say we don't have a luxury to have a luxury. I will always say that. I would go down probably to my my grave saying that, because until we can balance out this playing field, then we don't have a luxury to have a luxury. We think we do, because everybody want to live under the individual model, right? Which is actually goofy, because you can't stand alone and deal with a macroeconomic world that's trying to beat your back in every day. That's literally spitting in your face again, calling it rain, or a sprinkler system or something like that. And you're like, okay, yeah, okay. Because we understand that it is a race, not so much from the aspect of prejudice, but it's race. It's a race from what, journey to be able to what, leverage what, opportunity to own assets and resources, right? Because that, in essence, that survives you when you're gone and your family now has what? Pricing power, buying power, investment power. You see how that works? If every one of our generation had to start over from ground zero because anybody leaving or nothing, how they gonna go into the future and have anything to fight with? I'll wait. Again, you can't liquidate grandma's favorite little cookbook, right? Your granddaddy little favorite Al Green 8-track, right? Unless it's gonna be an NFT, right? You can't liquidate that. Child can't make no money on that. They can't go out there and fight in the world where cost of living going up every year. They can't do nothing with that. Yeah, I mean, it means something to you. It's, sentimental value, but that's about it, So that's what makes this stuff, it's in your face. Like in your face. Like Dave Chappelle said, in your face. It's in your face. And if you ain't doing nothing to change that, then we losing. We're losing. We're losing our aspect of the quote unquote ideal of the quote unquote race. Because if everybody can get on code and respect their ranks, even though they can have dissenting views here and there, but they always keep their codification in play. We're trying to play the role of what? Everybody's what? Everybody's your friend. Everybody ain't bad. We trying to make everybody not be what the reality of it really is. We're focusing on that kind of minutia, which is stupid. That does not advance your what? Your agenda. You see what I'm saying? It does not advance your agenda. You're just wasting precious time being what? Imbued by trivial things. As the saying goes, you're trying to impress people that don't want to be impressed by you. Makes no sense. And then the more they show you that they don't want to be impressed by you, the more you try to what? Impress them. You double down on trying to get people attention. Like, what they do that at? You that much starving for attention that you gotta go to extreme lengths to get attention. You see what I'm saying? So our mentality is that we're trying to focus on what? Growing, right? Growth, linear growth, right? Longitudinal type of growth. We're trying to realize that within this equilibrium of being able to, understand price and value, microeconomics, and the macro picture, we know how the game is played. We know we're dealing with what? People who control the chessboard in ways that they control the chessboard is very unique. But it ain't nothing that you don't see firsthand, right? They're operating under the 4D chess move theory, period. They've been doing it since like forever, right? This is, y'all know what it is, right? These are 4D implemented chess moves. They're trying to complete them best they can. They throw them a lot of them out there. Some of them ain't gonna make it. Some of them gonna complete though. That's the game. That's the game plan. That's what you're up against. Right. So yeah, they printing. You can't, again. That's dilution. That's dilution on top of dilution. On top of dilution. Because now when you get in too deep. Like one of my favorite movies was In Too Deep. Old school movie. I don't know if y'all remember that. But Brother Divine, maybe you may know about that, brother. Let me see. Brother Rich, you may know about that.
187 on the undercover.
What y'all know about In Too Deep? Boy, classic. But Jermaine, you may know about that too. Maybe Sonny too, Brother Sonny. He's been around a little bit.
Of course. That's
that movie In Too Deep. Classic. Starring Lawrence Fishburne.
Yep.
Classic movie. Y'all might want to go revisit that one. I know I'm throwing it out there. Y'all like that when you get your head done there, brother. Move on, brother. No, but it's a good movie. Right? That's the extent of how governments are. They in too deep. Do you think they really care and concerned about being made a fool or made to look like they're a fool? When they still got all the power, the monetary policy power. See what I say? They want to be wrong, so they can have the excuse to say, well, it was because the extenuating circumstances what caused it to get outside of control of what we was able to kind of model for it based upon the data. So yeah, essentially, yeah, we had to make these extreme measures because yada this, yada that. See how that worked? But the damage is already done. You don't get to play over or do over in this perspective. You see how that works? Tesla already went from $200 to $2,500 a share. Apple then went from $10 to dang near $200, $300. Y'all get my point. The damage is already done at that point. Meaning those who are the influencers, like we spoke about earlier, the influencers walk away with what? With the bag, because they have what? Pricing power, margin power, leverage power. They can buy more for less and benefit bigger on the back end. So at some point, we're going to have to get into that game too. What else did you got? That's all I'm saying. What else do we got? Now, we got other things too, because we be doing 2-3 things at the same time. I'm not saying you devote everything to this, but I'm just saying you have to get in the arena of understanding how to maximize what? Your opportunities. Right? Through utilitarian perspective, reveal preferences that come along because you met the right people who are really about that life and you can get behind them. See, all this stuff is tied into microeconomics in a lot of ways when we're speaking about them. Right? The importance of it. Right. So coming down to number 10, using the competitive market model to analyze public policy interventions. We just talked about a lot of that stuff in that same last little sound bite to a degree, right? We basically hit most of all that stuff. Prey ETF, the LGBTQ stuff, all that stuff, ESG, right? Environmental social governance investing, emerging markets. But on top of that, the bullets and the bandages theory too, where they price people out and there's a need, they ain't got no choice. They got to what? Bend down and bow down to what? Being able to meet the demand of what? Their their people, their society. If they can't produce their own, they got to go outside themselves to get it from somebody else. And in that case, if the demand up in this dire demand, guess what? Now they're going to be subjected to what? Margin gouging, right? The people that's conveying it or producing it, they can hit them with bigger margin and they're going to have to pay for it. They ain't got no choice. They need it. That was a study that came out just recently. They're saying that some of these companies out here just actually at the point they're starting to gouge again. They're gouging under the aspect that they knowing that inflation is bad. They just raising prices and they ain't got the ability to be really raising prices for certain things. We went through that before with the big gas crisis. Yeah, this stuff is, man, it's just one big circle. It's cyclical for a reason. Right. So again, it's important, right? Again, none of this stuff is out over our head. We get this. So your investments have to be under those guidelines and understanding how it works from the consumer to the producer, to all the, the social, branding underneath it, that got people all excited about it or not, or whatever. If you pushing it to try to get people excited, all this stuff plays into the picture, right? The microeconomics, the minutiae to make up the bigger aspect of the macro. Right. So moving on real quick. So monopoly and monopsony, right? Theories of monopoly and monopsony price setting, right? And we just talked about that to a degree down here, coming from this spread. See, all this stuff is all intertwined. Like literally 1 to 2, 3 to 4. It's all, 5. It's all intertwined for a reason, right? And the more you unravel it, unpack it, and talk about it, it leads right into the next statement, obviously, you can tell there. Right? Understanding that. Well, who dealing with monopoly problems right now? Well, when I say ain't problem on their side, but the government always don't want people to have all this power, right? No one man should have all this power. Y'all know the song. Y'all know how it go. Who they trying to strip a lot of power right now? Facebook, right? Well, Meta, right? Meta, right? Google, right? They coming after, them types, right? Amazon, the monopolies, right? They swilling, they killing all the mom and pop businesses out there. They eating up all their lunch. You can't compete against them because they got pricing power. See how that work? That's the game. It's a cold game out there. It's a cold game. Because they get to set the prices at the end of the day. They're literally playing, police on these social sites, telling what you can and can't say, and they're allowing certain things that they want that fit their narrative based upon, their homeboy or homegirl kind of, connectivity. Couldn't make this stuff up. Of course, that's why I hate social media, right? It's no secret with me, right? Because it's trash, right? The ideal of it, you know what it is. You got people who already have agenda-laden mindsets. You already know it's going to be a lot of biases in place. Even though when they're nuanced, they're still there, though. Which leads to the next point, because in that moment, right, they have now the ability to do what? implement price discrimination. Let that marinate. Price discrimination. It's important to realize that. It happens a lot, right? Homeboy just came in, he paid this much. You come in, you pay 3 lines worth. Bruh, right? Like, we talking about equal or greater than, right? Old school, right? We learned that in math. He paid this much, I'm paying this much. It's the same product. What made that product more expensive to me than it was for them? Price discrimination. I'm putting a nuance to it, of course, in that perspective of the analogous, but y'all get my point, right? Price discrimination. It could be good or bad, and it could be both. It depends on who that end, consumer is, right? Y'all know how it is in the hood. What we say? Give me the what? What they call in the hood? The homeboy what? Let me get that homeboy hookup. Stop playing. Stop playing. Let me get that homeboy hookup. You running a legit business. Folk run up in there, meaning the homies. Man, let me get the homeboy hookup. You just had to, charge little Mary. You had to charge Mary full price. Homeboy coming there, he want the homeboy hookup. Now you trying to grow your business. They're playing into your what? Your social value that you have to, be accommodated to what? That scenario. You see what I'm saying? That's a form of price discrimination. It's so many layers to that. But the same thing what the Fed's doing. They're looking at the people who have what? Who own what? Assets. Main Street sitting there huffing, cans of paint right now, and motor oil and tailpipe exhaustion. And these people sitting there still juicing, pumping money, and it's only enriching people who are already what? Ultra rich or wealthy. Right in front of people face the biggest wealth heist ever in American history. Price discrimination. But they're supposed to be helping people have maximum employment, all that stuff they be talking about. Like, man, miss me with all that. We know what's going on at this point. We're too intelligent not to see it. Like, your eyes ain't deceiving you, right? Your comprehension level is not deceiving you right now, right? Could make this stuff up. All right, so moving on. So imperfectly competitive markets and strategic behavior. Now we're talking. Because we understand markets are very what? Imperfectly competitive, right? It's a very imperfectly competitive marketplace out there, right? Same company, one got a better product, the other one has a bigger bank. They can get their product out there in front of more people. Who gonna win that race? The better product or the one that got the bigger bank? For marketing, advertisement, M&A, merger and acquisition, R&D. See how that work? Until people realize that smaller company, that bigger bank got it. That makes the market imperfect because the better product is supposed to win out. Shouldn't they? The more supreme technology should win out in the end. When you think that? But you have to be willing to realize that, that's not how markets work. So you have to be strategic in your behavior. Don't go all in, getting emotionally attached to any of these companies. Not now. Now I got to go my baby powder voice on high. Not another company y'all better get invested in emotionally. Let me catch one of y'all get invested when he comes. I'm going to send a virus to your pewter. Don't do it. I repeat, don't get emotionally invested in the company. Why? Because it's business. It's not called feelings. It's called business. Right? Because you think these people care about your feelings. Seriously? You think they care about your feelings? Oh, okay. Really? Oh, we all inclusive, huh? We all the same, huh? You a paper chaser. You got your feelings on lock, remaining, right? That's the antidote of rolling joke of the night. Look, you got to remove away from all that. And you got to become more of a strategic thinker. Again, what's tonight's topic? Behavior aspects of choices. behavior aspects of choices. You have to make those kind of choices. You got to put your big boy and your big girl pants on. You got to grow up. They're not going to allow you to walk into life in a very charismatic way and just, stumble on opportunity. We don't have that luxury. Every step of the way, it's going to be hard. They're going to try to make it hard. They steal it from the main street every day right now with this printing press running full steam. And they still act like, they're data dependent when all the data telling them what? Stop the press, slam the brakes on it. Matter of fact, hit the reverse hard, snatch the transmission out, snatch that thing in reverse. And these people's acting like, no, but see, again, transitory is transitory. Again, now that lie been dispelled. Now it's more like, okay, well, inflation is actually somewhat good for markets. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Couldn't make this stuff up. But they appeal on you and tell you that it's a lemonade, party parade, and people just throwing it in there. Like, no.
Don't piss on me and call it rain.
Right? Ain't none of them R. Kelly tapes around here. None of that. what they call chaos. Their nickname chaos. You got chaos at the house, the big house right now. Dang it, boy. Drinking there, singing it there on the hey, boy. Woo. Hard out there for it. It's wild out there, man. So this is the reality where we have to make sure we're on point. We got to be on point, guys. Right? So that way people can't pull the wool over our eyes. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not on my watch. And y'all should be saying the same thing, not on y'all watch. Because we're all trying to inculcate this into our daily, existence, our daily bread, to realize how things work, from all aspects, again, microeconomics and macro. So we can play ball on any field. You could take this information and go to any social environment and play ball as a power player. You got to learn the rules of engagement. Again, you're moving under the auspices of understanding how to use 4D chess moves to your advantage and how to, understand how to interpret data no matter where you at, and then make executive decisions with that information. Right? So price determination in perfectly competitive markets, right? Price determination in perfectly competitive markets, right? Gonna make it happen. We'll make it happen. We to happen. Literally, that's what the big companies are saying. We to happen. You got to come through us. Right? You got to come through us first. Matter of fact, this company here hurt my little feelings to even put the little thing down. Right? The company that make Twirler, Agile Therapeutics, they get mocked right now because the CEO is a weak, old school pharmaceutical dinosaur. They got a phenomenal product, and he's not out there beating the war drum on it. They're just trying to do it the old traditional way. And then, everybody out there moving like 100 miles an hour, professing their product. And it's one of the best products out there when it comes to, again, transdermal, use case for what they call birth control patch, right? It's the best birth control patch out there, literally, based on the science. And a lot of people don't even know about it, especially the sisters that need women, I'm saying, period. And the CEO acting like, people just going to wake up and just realize that this thing was out there. And it's just dragging the stock. It's just dragging the stock. Stock was sitting at near $3 and change, right? Up until the FDA approval. As soon as they got approved, like most things, buy the room, sell new. But then after that, you're supposed to have people come in and say, okay, yeah, we see what's going on. And then, okay, we got to get the product out. That's all it is. Now we should be. These people sat there and played the game of just trying to wait it out, doing the old school way. And they're just sucking the life out the stock. The stock is almost back down to the point where they went before they ain't gonna produce for date thing there at 50 cents. It's back down there to the price where I got in at 50 cents. And their competitors are people like what? Ortho Ever is the dynamic aspect of it, but that's what people who like what Johnson had it, Mylan had it, right? On that side. These people can't compete with this Twirler patch. It's low dose estrogen. It's the lowest dose estrogen on any birth control patch out there on the planet. That means less hormonal issues for the women. The technology behind the patch in itself, the stick to her skin, to the woman's skin, they patent it. They patent it. It's called skin fusion. Right? It's better than Band-Aid
Talking about
bandages. that you just
AGRX.
Yep, AGRX, right? That technology, even with how it sticks to your skin, is revolutionary. It's called skin fusion. They can patent it, they can license it to people like Band-Aid and 3M and all of them, like, big companies that make that stuff. And the CEO ain't even pushing that ancillary aspect of the technology, even though it's supposed to be in tandem to working with what the low dose estrogen and that of the patch itself. Man, it's a headache. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a headache. But that's exactly what we're talking about now. In perfectly competitive markets and strategic behavior, price determination in the perfectly competitive markets, they blowing their competition out to work. Couldn't make this stuff up. I'm gonna give you another one, right? Been in this one like forever, and then when it went up and down. Company called TRXC, Trixie. That nickname we call it Trixie. There's only a few robotic surgery equipment makers on the planet, literally. Far few between industry here. Their major competitor is a company called ISRG. Love ISRG too. One of them got the C-Hunts robotic surgery bot. It's a robotic bot, literally, that does stuff for you. And the other one got one called the Da Vinci. Right? Yeah. There's the DE is the DE. I think it's D. I think it's DE. Right? Yeah, the Da Vinci machine. Right? And ISRG. They're literally right down the street from each other in North Carolina. They headquarters are right next to each other. That's how crazy it is. They headquarters are right next to each other. This one here has pricing power, ISRG. ISRG just did a forward split recently. The stock was up there, dang $1,000+. They did a forward split, brought the stock back down to 300. Remember I told y'all I pushed this on Facebook, and I pushed it in our group, Facebook Messenger group. I said, look, y'all might want to jump all over this ISRG. The thing already starting to climb back up. The same way Apple and Tesla did when they did their forward split. Everybody wanted in on it because they got pricing power. Their machine is not better than the Seance one, but the Da Vinci knows how to market. They're in all around the country, the world, pushing their robotic surgery machines and stuff like that. It helps with that surgery aspect of it is good. Trust me, because it's less invasive. The whole idea, I can go on diatribe for this. I did deep research on this stuff, obviously. But this company here, TRX, make the robotic company called the robotic surgery machine called Seance, is better than the Da Vinci. But TRXC is trading at literally. Let me show y'all the stock real quick. I'm finna pull Clayton Bigsby on y'all. Y'all want to see my face? Y'all want to see my face? I'm finna hit you with a Clayton Bigsby moment. Let me show you the stock. All right. Hold up. Stock. Where you at? I got the right ticker. Tell me. Hold on. Don't play up me. Hold it. Hold up. What's
Is that the one for 41 cents?
It's like dirt. I know I got the ticker right. Hold up. It's TR. Or is it TRCX? Dang, I might be getting it wrong. What's the dang on ticker? Well, I know I'm having a moment tonight. It's been a long week. It's TRXC. It's God to be careful, man. I supposed to know. I'm messing it up for some reason. Or is it TR? No, it's I'm just talking about TRX. Oh, TR. No, what is it? Man, I can't think of it right now. Forgive me, guys. They might have changed it too recently. I'm gonna show you the competitor, RSRG, really quick. All right. That ticker. Hold on, let me take this off the screen real quick. 1 second. You see this stock right here? They just recently again did a forward split. So we're talking about not so much as best in breed, but we're talking about in perfectly competitive marketplace right now. Pricing power, having the ability to, outpace your competitor. Look at this stock. This on the daily chart. We're talking about robotic surgery here. Look at this here. Look at this here. This thing was at $1,000 before they did this forward split. Couldn't make this stuff up. And they did this split, brought the stock down like $300, $330, and it's right back up already. It's starting to go right back up. It's starting to go right back up. Because again, those same things we just talked about. See, that was the split. They did a split on the 5th, October the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. Right? So again, you see what they've been doing for us. The numbers again. Here's some of their earnings perspective, right? Crushing it, right? Right? Look at the numbers here. So they just whoop the numbers a lot. Estimate what they did. Estimate what they did. Estimate what they did. They kind of came in line last quarter. Right here, they come up on the next earn. They got next earnings coming up here next month, if I'm not mistaken. And they just did a forward split. And the economy is quote unquote opening back up. So people are getting that kind of level of what? Specialty surgery, cancer stuff cut out. They do all kind of stuff like that. That's what that machine does. And it's robotic, so less invasive. So that stuff going back in the motion. They was already kicking butt, taking names, even with COVID. Guess what? Now they got more opportunity to be able to do more because people going getting back out a little bit. They can get those scheduled surgeries back in the queue. Again, real stuff, not real type of surgeries too. So it ain't like you just cosmetic stuff. This is like kidneys and all that stuff and livers. This machine does all that stuff. Saves you less blood, less cutting into your body and mutilating y'all up. Dealing with some old drunken behind doctor. You do all this stuff now through the robot. But again, they made competitors a company called Seance. Let me just go over Google and show them to my. All right, hold up. Seance robot, right? Surgical. See now, Medtronic. Transenterix is the company, right? I know I should have just said. I know I would keep saying Trixie. We nicknamed it Trixie, but it's called Transenterix, right? And for love me, I just couldn't get the name to come out the top of my head. I was gonna say it, but it was hurting. But this is the company. Transenterix, emerging surgical robotic player with a bullish moment, blah, blah, blah. But the robotic surgery machine that they got, it has haptic feedback. Yeah. One of my old school phone people that they had them old school Blackberries back in the days, right? They had the haptic keyboard. You press it, you can feel that little vibration, all that stuff, the haptic punch and all that. Their machine has that. The other one does not. So you can literally feel every aspect when you're doing the surgery. It has that, like when you play PlayStation, y'all know you're in PlayStation and Xbox, when it be rumbling in your hand, right? You take your head off when you playing NFL Madden and stuff. Joker take your head off, they be rattling your head like, God, dog, you dropped that thing. Like, God, dog, boy, Joker took my head off. Controller then jumped out your head. Their robotic machine has that. The other one does not. So it's really fine-tuned to that of the sensory, right? They call it articulation, right? Y'all know what that is, articulation. Their machine is very articulated. So you can feel bumped up against the most softest tissue inside somebody's body, you'll be able to feel that. So you can correct yourself. You're supposed to be doing the surgery. Oh man, I've been in this for a long time. Y'all can tell, like, this brother, we come with this stuff from. But we're talking about laparoscopic surgery. It's next level because that's where we're going. That's where we're going, guys. This is future. The same way people are excited about Tesla, right? Electric car. Well, would you give an idea that they've been able to fine tune the robots to have less problems than what they call, human error that can come with a surgery, right? A doctor can get nervous and mess around and clip one of your main arteries and you have to charge to the game. You know what I'm saying? We would try. The robot is sensory, especially AI level. It already know now. It's dealing with, microscopic, measurements of movement. It's baked into, or what they call coded into its articulation, that is very, very careful. And in what they call avoiding human error in a surgery. So you don't have to worry about having all the leaking blood, all this. No, robot, bypass all that. So the thing had been got cleared for FDA approved all this stuff like that, and they just had the same thing. They had bad management, phenomenal product. The same thing with Agile Therapeutic. Great product, bad management. I was in a company like that, maybe 3-4 years ago, a company called DCTA, Dell Cal Technology. They specialize in colon cancer. Very important. They had phenomenal science. They had a bad management running the company. Their competitors were not better than them in terms of what they had, but it didn't really resonate with the shareholder because shareholders were like, dude, you need to be out there publicizing this. Get it out there so we can get. See, that happens a lot. Y'all know this stuff like, I'm finna go there. Don't y'all come from me, but I'm using this analogy. That like when y'all see a dude walking down the street and he got him a nice little, little woman with him, and he might be looking a little messed up a little. Like, how that joker pull something like that? It's on that level a little bit. You be like, man, what I'm doing wrong? What I'm doing wrong? Right? You macaroni Tony dang there. Like, how what you messing up now? But y'all get my point. See, this is the reality. Y'all have to start thinking about that as an investor. Because you have to be able to disseminate through all of that to make good strategic decisions based upon all the rules of engagement. So that way you don't be emotionally compromised. Number one, you separate yourself from your emotions and you start thinking like you're supposed to, like a strategic person who's trying to maximize, every aspect of utilization in this opportunity, right? Weighing pros, cons, everything all in one and saying, where could this investment take me, under these parameters? What's the future growth perspective here? What's the, this, you start, politicking those things. Right. So again, it's just crazy, man, because, we're seeing all these things happening, but, again, every investment may not pan out to be what you think it is, even though it's a good product, but you don't get emotionally invested. You just realize, okay, now I know how to deal with this. Let me just, stay within the confines of what I could do, and I'll just move on from here. Right. But this is the company. Again, their stuff is better than that venture machine. Right? Transenterics, right? It's better, and it's cheaper. But again, they ain't got pricing power. They ain't got, that world exposure quite yet. So whatever. Tomato, right? Blah, 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 blah. But that's the game. That's the game. I'm curious. They must have did a ticker changes recently. I missed that because it's supposed to be popping up, and it definitely didn't pop up. I'm like, yeah, they changed it to our senses. That's what it was. I'm supposed to know this too, because I've seen it like a million times, and I'm sitting there acting like I didn't recognize it. But it's been look, I'm not tired too. I'm tired. But it's called. They changed the name to a census, and it probably is a good thing because even though Transenterics was a good name, but maybe they need some kind of fight against ISRG. But everybody was like, oh, this company finna go up to the same price that ISRG is. At that time, ISRG was at $400-$500 a share. Transenterics was sitting at around about 70 cents a share. Then it went to like $1 a little bit, and we're like, oh, we finna go, we finna ride, we finna fly. And then again, the management was so just raggedy and ratchet, just messed up a good opportunity. It happens. But I still keep my eye on it, right? And it's weird because I had to sit there and ask myself that. I got stock in one of my banking portfolios, and they did the ticker change, right? Recently, ASXC, excuse me, under Census Surgical. But that robot literally is about that life, though. Right? It really is a good, a good. Anyway, moving on. Get back to the study because I won't be here all night. But y'all with me though? Y'all with me? Y'all with me? That's a part of the understanding how this stuff works, right? You got to be layered, guys. You got to be layered. You can't come in this, with a block mindset. You got to be layered, right? Because the aspect of what we're dealing with here is it's nuanced, but it's not complex. I'll say that. It's nuanced, but it's not complex. To the degree where you can't comprehend is my point. Unless you're just really trying to go out your way not to care or want to learn it. And then, of course, you're going to make a lot of bad decisions at that point because you're going to try to force the market to bend to your will or force the company that you love to be better than its competitors. Even though the product might be good, but guess what? They ain't got pricing power. right? They ain't got pricing power. They ain't got the monopoly price setting perspective. They ain't got price discrimination. They don't, they can't, deal with using, profit maximization based upon output choice by price taking firm or pricing in short term or long term run equilibriums. They can't deal with that. They cannot, right? Right. So that's why it's important to realize this. All right. So coming down to number 14, simultaneous move games and sequential move games. Right. Now that's unique because we're talking about imperfectly competitive markets and strategic behavior. Simultaneous move gains and sequential move gains. Games. I'm about to say games, but games. Right. Simultaneous and sequential. Right. Right. So one of them is sporadic, the other one is more, directive and organized in terms of, step by step sequentially. Simultaneous, just, it just happens. It's just happening. All in real time, just things are happening, right? They're moving, pieces around the chessboard, right? And just like, playing checkers, right? One jump over the other, right? Or tic-tac-toe or something like that, right? Understand the nature within that. When you're, again, imperfectly, competitive market value and strategic behavior, when you're kind of mapping out, who are the shakers and movers, right? It's the reason why Tesla market cap is bigger than all the automakers literally on the planet. Couldn't make this stuff up. They haven't even got to 1 million cars produced yet on a per annum basis. They barely producing 800,000 to 900,000 cars a year, but they got a market cap bigger than the biggest automakers on the planet. Ford, Toyota, GM, all of them. Their market cap is bigger than all of them. Make that make sense. I thought it was supposed to be about volume. Penny candy theory. Apparently not, because markets that don't look behavior patterns. Behavior is driving that. A lot of it is risky behavior, but nonetheless, it's pricing in future growth. They're giving Tesla flowers right now, basically. Let me put it that way, like in the hood style. They're giving Tesla their flowers right now while they're still alive. That's exactly what's happening. Wall Street giving them their flowers now. Get your little tulips. Get the tulips. Get your little tulips. True story. Future valuations. Right? Monopoly. Price setting. Monopoly price setting. Profit maximizing output choice by a price taking firm in a price and short-term long-run equilibrium. Right? These analysts are showing up now when before they used to throw dirt on Tesla, talk all kind of trash about Tesla. Now they line up to give it upgrades almost every other week. $1,400 price target, $1,900 price target, $1,300 price target. When before the analysts used to literally pee on Tesla stock, call it a pump and dump. They used to talk mad trash about Tesla stock 2-3 years ago. I'm not lying. Now they can't live without it. I remember Jim Cramer used to go in on Tesla. Now he's one of the biggest, all of a sudden switch side, biggest Tesla bulls out there. Must be two sides. Jim Cramer always been two sides though. These people fake it in, a $3 bill. But, again, that's why we don't get caught up in the emotional aspect. We got to make the strategic decision based upon rules of engagement. Right. So moving on to the last one. So specific topics, right? Risk, uncertainty, and information, including utility theoretic approach to uncertainty and decision tree analysis, right? Case in point, insurance markets, asymmetric information, and auctions, right? Well, asymmetric, matric, what they call matrix instead of matrix. That's actually the terminology. Asymmetric information, right? And auctions, right? Insurance markets, asymmetric information, and auctions. So this is part of that decision-making tree, right? Again, we talked about that to a degree. Like I brought this up, I think, with y'all last time over Chris and who was else? A lot of you guys were on here too. We talked about Sotheby's, right? Auction side of things, right? Insurance in relation to that of price valuations, authentication, all that stuff like that, right? When you don't deal with people who have that kind of level of pricing value and authentication, right? You subjected to the risk, the uncertainty of information of the people that you're dealing with, or utility theoretic approach to uncertainty within that decision pool or tree of analysis. So you go to people that have credentials to be, incentivized by supposedly proper information, right? But in markets, it wavers. It's look, it has its place in it, but you still got to be able to weed through all the talking points and the data and the price pumping to realize whether or not you're dealing with a gold mine or just some gold dust, right? And so that's understanding the field, right? What's out there and those aspects within that in terms of talking about microeconomics here, right? Risk, uncertainty, information, including utility theoretic approach to uncertainty and decision tree analysis, right? The decision tree analysis, let that matter, like a tree with roots and limbs and all that stuff, the aspect within that aspect of analysis, right? The hierarchy within the tree. How the decisions move. Did they move up? Did they move down? Did they move sideways? Or they start from the center and move outward? A lot of things that kind of unpack there. Insurance markets and asymmetric information, right? And auctions, right? And that whole idea of the auction market, right? We talking about when they auction out bonds, right? When they're doing the auctions for what? Reverse repo operations, right? The counterparties and people lining up, to relinquish their bonds to get cash so they can invest in the market, right? Given to the feds, right? So they can keep markets automatically artificially manipulated, bonds prices from surging, and they can keep printing money and diluting. Inflation is rising. Y'all get it. All right, so moving on to 16. So overview of general equilibrium theory and economic efficiency. Overview of general equilibrium theory and economic efficiency, right? The whole aspect of your investment reality is supposed to be more economically efficient, making good decisions, right? Being balanced, right? Being balanced, equilibrium, right? The theory within that, what it probably would take given the opportunity you had all the proper research to make things happen. You probably can go out there and make things happen under the mindset that you're growing now because you're a little bit more poised, patient, and positioned, right? With some use case knowledge where you can make better decisions economically. That's leverage. That's leverage. You're no longer thinking like an adolescent, immature person running around thinking you God give to the world. Y'all know that we all been there, especially males, right? You go to that ego trip moment when you were young in your 20s. Some of y'all in your 20s still, but y'all get my point. All that when you first you were invincible, right? Now you get a little older, you're like, whoa, right? Can't be making them type decisions. Can't be shooting off the hip now. No, can't be doing none of that there. Can't be doing none of that there. So you get seasoned, you make better decisions. It's essentially you learn how to move within the aspect of being more efficient. That's market value too. In these different assets and learning how to, again, gain the best optimization aspect out of the opportunity. The best optimizing aspect of it, I should say. All right, and lastly, externalities and public goods, right? Externalities and public goods, right? But then again, there's just special topics aspect of dealing with microeconomics, right? Right. Externalities, basically, external aspects of, if we want to tie that to public goods, right? The different aspects or the ancillary aspects, right, of product value, right? Or we say the commodity market, right? How they take gold and turn it into, microchip, nodes and all this kind of stuff like that, right? Right. The aspect where you two money off of one perspective. Again, it's kind of like being vertically integrated to a degree, but also how these are everyday ubiquitous items, right? That's why it says public goods, right? The sugar that go into making a Twinkie, that same sugar go into making a cake or something else for another company, this, that, third. So that company got a lot of power because it's a producer of a product, obviously, that has a lot of externality value associated with it because it's not just dealing with one, particular value or opportunity to be able to move its move its goods, right? It's aspect of what it is. No, it has a lot of externality value that's attached to it. Right? It can move across different lanes and just really expand. And they have leverage. They have which obviously can increase through the margin value too. If they know other bigger competitors in the space that can handle the volume that they do, so they can increase their prices and still make people buy these stuff because everybody need their internal ingredient, right? Their main ingredient. That's leverage, right? That's a micro, valuation that has a lot of macro pull because they control a lot of, people underneath the need of their supply. Their demand for their supply is, exorbitantly through the roof on average. Right. So again, just putting it into context again. So, a lot dealing with this when we're thinking about, again, microeconomics, how this stuff is synonymous with the marketplace is very connected, as y'all can see. A lot of these attributes and models and case studies and analogous and analogies, whatever, these things right here are very synonymous with your day-to-day life in a lot of ways, and you probably even give it credit or probably acknowledge it, I should say. But this is a part about, being positioned, well positioned mentally, so you can become more, efficient, right? Physically on the financial side. Right? Let that marinate for a moment. That's what it's about. Efficiency of economic value. Learning how the chessboard, works essentially. The pieces on it, all that, right? The opponent sitting across from you, right? And the opponent behind that opponent, right? And the opponent behind that opponent. You thinking 4 or 5 players deep, layered deep. And if they all parroting the same thing, you already kind of know what their playbook is. 4D chess move kind of stuff. See, that's what it's going to take for you guys to be the baddest jokers on the, on the map when it comes to this stuff. Not that you're competitive, value with anybody, but you're competing with yourself is my point. You want to prove it to yourself that you can do this at that level. You can think long term. You could do short-term runs and long-term runs, value, and stay, balanced, in terms of equilibrium. Of course you can. You just got to keep dialing down emotional, blockage and increase more of the strategic value of thinking. Learning when to cut your losses, not sit there and being pain-free if you're in a bad trade. Take the L, come back, fight, live another day. Don't let the money go to zero. Markets can remain irrational, long they can remain solvent. You got your thesis right, your game plan right, but the market might do a whole 360 because we just talked about what? Imperfectly competitive markets and strategic behavior. Eliminates all that. It should be this way because of that, the third. That's not how this stuff works. You got to follow the money. You have to follow the money. Right? As the saying goes, follow the money. Right? Because it's important. Right? If markets are devoid of fundamental analysis and it's not running on anything of that kind of level of substance, guess what? Okay, yeah, you can adapt, and still be, correct in your thesis, but you just have to adjust for that moment. Right? Markets may not be quite ready yet. Right? Using Bitcoin as the model, right? Bitcoin just broke what? Our first pseudo support with that 58 grand, right? I said we break that. If we can't defend that, we're going to come down. So the next level is sitting at around about what? 54, 55,000, right? As you see, that's the bottom of the integration band. It's been holding within that pretty decently. Look how it came down here. It got outside just a little bit, then it bounced and got back in there. So that's the next test. No worries here. Look at the chatter right here. You see it right here. All that chatter right there is to let you know right there, yeah, it's coming down there to test that area there, right? No harm, no foul. Let it come, right? And it's sitting there right about the bottom of that integration band right now. Let it come on down there. You best believe when it do get there, you think it's going to blow right through it, poof. Or you think it's going to get there and what? Bounce, and kind of bounce around it, right? Because people looking at it just like we are. They understanding what? How markets respect the value of what? Support, resistance, supply, demand. At some point, there was a supply zone, right? And, then it turned to a demand, right? Basically, it was resistance. Now it became what? Support. They blew past that when they established a new what? A new level of support. And then they kind of went on and, up here and came back, tested them again. How y'all doing? We came back, check on y'all. Y'all good? Y'all good. Went back higher. Same thing. Came back, test them again. Okay, well, how y'all doing? Oh, man, we out here this time. You broke below it. No big thing. No big deal. Stocks, the asset's still up considerably, mounds and scores of value than that of what a lot of the other assets are. Right? But that's just understanding how markets work within this aspect of strategic placement, right? But we realized that through our charting, our technical analysis, right? Not our emotional analysis, but our technical analysis and how this stuff works. And so we can function better, as investors and traders in the same perspective. So this tells me what? If we break here, this is when you're supposed to become what? Patient. Not giddy, not jumping out the window, right? You be patient because now there's levels that some of the bigger fish may be trying to take the market, right? In this case, we know we have some ancillary, so what they call some small little stop and go moments where markets have to come and hit certain aspects of what? Old resistance, right? Now it should become a new support, right? So that's what we're looking at here with Bitcoin. So 55,000 is on its way. But we probably going to hit and bounce around for a little second. Maybe if they can establish something here, maybe, right? But then you got to come back and test that resistance again around 58,000, excuse me, right? Now you're within this channel here, right? But it's showing you that inside this linear regression band on the daily, it's showing you what's going on here. All you did is double top. I mean, clearly. Can you see? Barely. No, you can see that. You clearly double topped up there. Rounded tops, obviously make them drop. Y'all know we say these little things for a reason. Rounded tops, especially when there's a double or triple top touching up there, you best believe we're going to what? We're going to drop a little bit after that because we couldn't what? Finish through with that what? Price expansion or price discovery. They couldn't break above it. That ain't a bad thing. Just that, it's resting. You got to rest a little bit, right? You got to rest potentially even the bigger move up, or it's going to kind of pull back even more, depending on if people get impatient and start to run for the door a little early. It's all relevant, right? It's not emotion. It's just business. But we need to learn how to read it. That's why we need to learn how to read the money so we can what? Stay in the money, and the rest is what? Efficiency and just, letting chips fall as they may. Right, so that's a part of that. So just using this real quick on the backside of that. So Bitcoin, y'all know what's going on here. We know about all the other hype that's going on within the space now because of the whole meta world. So XYO and Mana and it's some of them sand. All those little cryptos are starting to wake up because they're gonna benefit, right? Loot ring, cause y'all know I've been in loot ring since the teens, right? Mid-teens and 20 cents range. It got up, up near $3 and change. It was just running. And, it's pulled back a little bit since then. It's cooling off a little bit. Right? That's a part of markets. We don't say, oh, this asset is not good. It's garbage. No, it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's going through what? Ebb and flow. It's going through its ebb and flow like anything else. Right, so you can see how this little token hill just been on fire, right? Been on fire, right? So again, we're talking about this thing was sitting at 20 cents a token, literally, teens and 20 cents a token. Back, literally just as you see here, back during September, August, 20 cents, and then it ran all the way up here near $4. From August to today. From 20 cents to $4. See, jokers don't want to get this money. Jokers don't want to get their money. Right? But we understand, not emotion. It's just all baked into the understanding how these assets move, how they work. It's just a part of, realizing their dynamics. And things they have to pull back. And RSIs get extended and MACDs get, overshadowed. And you have what they call, a divergence perspective when you start kind of having outflows more than the inflow, and it's just doing a healthy pullback correction. Establish yourself around certain major supports if it can. Hopefully, if was a fifth, can you see barely all that? If that happens, then guess what? You have to start, find a new buyer, make a step in there. If not, they come down to the next check down level. Is it going to be here or is it going to be here? One way or the other is going to be one or the other, or if not both. Right? See how that work? So we go either there. Right? Or, right, we come down to the next level. See? No matter how you map it out, it all has, relevancy, right? If that ain't good enough, we'll come down to the next level. And what's the next level? Down, below it, maybe down somewhere around here, maybe. See, it ain't hard to do that. Whether you're using Fibonacci bands or just drawing, you can map money. Right? Big money sitting around do the same thing all day. And you just sitting here watching if things gonna respect their value, or if not, okay, they might want a little cheaper. Well, guess what? The thing just went from 20 cents to $4 dang near in less than 3 months. Like, seriously? When last time you had a chance to grow your money, that much a percentage, and that length of time? That's roughly what? What's $4 from 20 cents? 20 cents to $4 is what? How much is that in percentage gain? Some wicked number, right? Like 800-something%, somewhere around there. It's like 800-something% in a matter of 2.5 months, 3 months. Stop playing. See, jokers don't be wanting. So when y'all be trying to tell people that don't understand this, they can't fathom this stuff. They think y'all just be talking. Yeah, y'all lying. Y'all don't know. You just making that up. Then you gonna show them on the chart. Then they be like, then they kind of find excuse like, no, that thing ain't reading right. No, these numbers are exact. Right? These numbers don't lie, right? Then joker be like, So this is why we excited about this stuff, right? Because we understand pricing power, pricing opportunities, pricing in opportunity. We're pricing in opportunity. All right. So again, a lot going on there, guys. So, some really good information. I see that's the second time I have it. I ain't have anything else camera. But we're talking microeconomics. We're gonna move to macro at some point, but this is great. Again, thanks to Ober Brandon, you brought this back out again, right? Because I had been dealing with this throughout my career here and there. And you asking for that, some information on that was a good chance to kind of talk about this again. Why? Because we hit on a little bit of this stuff last year when we were breaking down the monetary system, right? And money and how this stuff works, and M1, M2, all this stuff, and the banking districts, in terms of Europe and how monetary policy and then printing money. We did a little stuff, right? We got to go back and revisit that stuff again too. But we spoke about a lot of these same topics we discussed tonight, microeconomics, right? The aspects of that, how that plays into the bigger picture. Right. So this is just, again, sharpening you guys a sword, right? Steel sharpening steel. You have to keep your tools polished and in well working condition. If you out there laboring every day, we just labor mentally. So it's up here more than it is, elbows and knees and backs and, all that stuff. That's the difference. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us aliens. That's why I said y'all aliens, man. Y'all aliens, right? Own it. Don't run from it. Own it, right? Because you're willing to do a lot of things that most people are afraid to do, or they make excuses why they feel like they shouldn't. But yet, the one thing they can't live without is having resource opportunities, at their disposal, right? If not, they're gonna be subjected to what Biden say, right? Right? What Biden be saying. Right? I'm not finna wait on these antiquated, ignorant people to make decisions of your life like that. No. All right. So that's it, guys. So again, like I say, short, straight to the point. Again, want to be able to, reach the information, in a solid, stance, so we can be favorable towards it, because all this stuff it's inside of our daily bread. It's a part of our wheelhouse, and what we're trying to do here is learn how to be more strategic thinkers when it comes to the investment side of things, right? Again, any asset class, no asset class is, off limits here, right? No entrepreneur endeavor aspect is off, all this stuff is synonymous. It's all synonymous, guys, all of it. It you can move, it's transitory, right? This is the one time it is transitory, right? This information is transitory. It is, right? So make sure you realize that, right? And you guys act accordingly because of it, right? So I want to make sure all of us win. I want to see all of us win, right? I know we are very capable of being able to do just that, right? This stuff is it's important, right? So, we want to make sure you guys get the information. As a matter of fact, I just had a chance to look at the YouTube. What's going on, brother Snotball, brother Ghost? What's going on, family? Peace, Power, Profit, family. What's going on, family? Rashu. Hey, we'll have it. This is a PDF. It's a Wiley PDF course study book on microeconomics, right? 2006 edition, and this one particular edition. All right. If you guys want it, let me know. I'll get it to you, right? Just hit me up on my Facebook business page or catch me in the Discord room. Wherever y'all know y'all can connect with me, hit me up. I'll send it to you, right? We posted it already in the group, in that Facebook group. It's Microeconomics, all right, 6th edition, right? It's a Wiley's course study one. So it actually has quizzes and other stuff baked into it too. So this one is by David Basenko, David Basenko and Ronald Brutagem, right? It's a guy, a German guy, right? So I'm about to butcher his name, but that's how it's Brutagem. It depends on how you say it, right? Like, Bratwurst and all that stuff, right? But those are authors, but it's Microeconomics, the 6th edition, right? Published by Wiley book production. Right. So it is, again, set up in case study form and, that aspect of in student form more so about microeconomics. So let me know. I'll get the book to you. No problem. We'll get that right over to you if you want to be able to kind of follow on, because I'm gonna come out of it on a couple excerpts, so we can read it. So the other part I had set up that I was going to also read, but I want to save some of this for our next conversation, because I didn't want to plan on being here long tonight. I do want to give us time to digest information and move on without doing overkill. All right. But the next one, let me see. I wasn't even sharing. There was that. I was not. All right. So right here, right. This is the book right here. Microeconomics, 6th edition, right? And as you can see there, Northwestern is a highly, I guess, attributed value of economic school over there they have. And the Kellogg School of Management, y'all know about the Kellogg School of Management, right? Some of these people there, they come, they got some credentials, whatever, but everybody got something to deal with economics to a degree, right? Because we realize that you don't have to have none of these credentials and you can still outwhoop these guys in the market. That's why I love this stuff. That's why I love this stuff. It equals a playing field. The same way the guys that were sitting on their mama couch in their basement eating Twinkies, playing video game, bought GameStop, all this stuff, leveraged up, with margin, and them calls went through the roof. And them guys sitting on $500,000, $1,000,000+, and they made more money than their parents and their college professor, and they sitting up in the college, in college like, with them some Yeezys on, freshly bought behind out their little $1,000,000 they scored in the stock market or some crypto. Like, make that make sense. Like, why am I here again? I can take this money now, leverage it for the rest of my life, and I don't have to worry about having to go into debt just to feel like, y'all get it. But yeah, so let me know if you want the book. I get it to you. All right, well, it's a PDF. It's in PDF form. No worries. Right. So, and then the other part I was gonna come out of in terms of the behavior aspect of it, which we're gonna still hit it. It just, not tonight, right? This one right here, I have it already queued up. All right, we already queued up behavior aspects of choice, right? So next time we come live, we're gonna splice it with some other aspect of training that we're gonna speak about, of course. Probably mix it with some fundamentals, some technicals, or some investor sentiments, right? Investor sentiment, which is very important, right? Because that's a part of behavior aspects of choice, right? So this is what we're gonna talk about, again on our next, edition of Dragon Ball Z. Stay tuned. Now y'all get it. All right. So, go ahead. Somebody about to say something.
No, I was just laughing. You said next Dragon Ball Z.
Right. Yeah, I know about old school Dragon Ball Z. I know I went on. I used to watch that back in the day. Come on now. But I was in school at that time, boy. Get out of class, go watch some Dragon Ball Z, and everybody be in there. Joker, you to come to your apartment, your room, just so they can watch Dragon Ball Z with you. Like, you had girls in there, everybody need to watch Dragon Ball Z, doing their little, everybody working on their little chemistry set. Y'all know what I mean sometimes. Some of them doing their little chemistry sets. Some of them just chilling, right? The other jokers, doing their little, alcoholic chemistry sets. Or some people just study. We watch Dragon Ball Z. Right?
Yeah, in the room trying to make moonshine.
Man, I'll tell me about it back in the day, but so this stuff again, we gonna stay deep, right? We're different. Again, like I said, we're different. We go into crazy stuff like this. This good stuff, it ain't crazy, but we're trying to always figure out how we can downgrade our, our implicit bias is an upgrade opportunity where we could be a bit more, open-minded when it comes to, often in this case, expanding our economic opportunities, right? Not giving away yourself, right? But understanding exactly how to move in around any of these different little lanes or spaces. That's what makes you a better investor, right? Because it's you just not emotional. There's things you can invest in that are more your interest laden. Of course it is. We talked about that, obviously, right? Well, you may have an emotional connection to it, but it still has to make dollars and cents. If it doesn't make dollars and cents, that's just wasted money. Okay, what it is, period. So you still got to realize, what's the use case here? What is the use case here? What does this imperfectly competitive marketplace look like? Because this ain't the norm. It's a niche or a niche, so it has to be to compete with things that are what? Socially more accepted. Can it compete with that? Or can it at least gain some kind of aspect of market share? If it can, okay, it can thrive. Okay, then let's roll, right? And let's say we can steal a little bit along the way if we really about that life, right? But you need management and everybody to be on board too, and shareholders. So that's what makes this stuff great. Again, it's dynamically positioned for all of us. All of us, no matter who you are, where you are, all of us positioned for this opportunity. Again, we didn't have to send it, and we didn't have to sit in MIT or the Wharton School of Law and all this stuff, and the economics, all this UCLA. We didn't have to go sit in none of this. Nah. We did not, right? They say we did not. All right, so that's our next scenario, right? We're gonna build on that, and we're gonna build on investor sentiment and other stuff too, tied it to the market. So right now, we know the SP 500 is inside of a what? It's still banging up against what? Banging up against some resistance. They're gonna barbecue, they're gonna mildew. It's simple as that, right? None that we are not prepared for, none that we can't see coming, none that we're not prepared for, because we know markets like to try to rally into what? In certain holidays, they gonna try. They up against a mountain of data that tells them that they should not be, but you think markets care? They do not. Markets can remain rational on, they can remain solvent. They got to find an excuse to keep the money machine print. It keeps investors, wanting to play ball. There's no other alternative, Tina, right? So because of that, we're gonna play this, I don't know, turn a blind eye game until it can't turn into more blind eyes. You right back up near, the top again. So we back to triple topping almost. We doubled already dang there. We're the wick there. We wicked out over here on the all-time high. We're close to it here. We came short by maybe 20, 30 cents here. And we're trying for it again on this one here. Right? But y'all see that there. That's a bullish hammer, right? It's supposed to signal some kind of form of reverse. Some people say, they were saying, throwing around a lot of different terminology, like looking at that candle like, maybe. But markets are crazy. Markets are crazy. Banana cream pie crazy, like Cat Williams said. See, y'all want to mess with banana cream pie and got a baby by it now. Now y'all want to claim them, right? Now y'all don't want to claim them. Well, yeah, you got to claim this market for what it is. It's banana cream pie. And the feds are just making it worse, obviously, right? Obviously. But that's what we're dealing with. Until things change, we got to make sure that we're still comfortable in knowing our risk profile, what we're dealing with here, so we can make strategic moves. Right. So right now we're getting rid of the triple top. Again, just my opinion, I think we're gonna try a triple top. They may try for it tomorrow. Now, there's still some data points we're waiting on. Now, I know the latest thing is that Wall Street is waiting on Biden. They said they're supposed to actually did it today. Well, I think they was trying to get it today, but they pushed it back. I'm sure they did because they're trying to protect the markets too. They slick. They think they slick, but they ain't. Right. So he has to make a decision on who he's gonna, choose for the Federal Reserve chair. Either they're gonna renominate Jerome Powell or they're gonna bring in that woman named Brainerd, right? Now, again, that market can go both ways on that, right? Because they very familiar with Powell. They've been giving him praise because he's been running the printer excessively. He's void of data when he said he used to be richly ensconced in data. So he's just proven to be a wealth dealer at this point, taking money, printing it, and giving it to wealthy people, asset owners. So of course they like him, right? Of course they like him. Main Street obviously hates his guts. If they knew who he was, they would hate his guts because he's pricing them out of the market, right? In a lot of ways, we understand it. So that's our duty to go back and tell a lot of our, other people and constituents, hey, this is what's going on. That's why this information is important too, right? You're not just learning this in passing. You need to pay it forward, right? Help your people out. Help your people understand this stuff. help them understand this stuff. That's what you're here for, right? We're all here for, right? So once we get it, we can move, make better decisions. So that's what we're dealing with now. So if we get the triple top, they're gonna have to break, because I don't think they'll get a chance to get a fourth top, a quad top. That's just my opinion, right? So they up against it now. They close. If they can make that happen tomorrow, so be it. If they do, if they break above it tomorrow, we'll say this: if they're able to break above it tomorrow, meaning the all-time high, right? Sits around about what, 470, 65, right? If they break it tomorrow, then of course we could easily run towards like 473, 474, 475, easily, right? Easily. That puts us at the top of the integration band on the daily. And if they try to blow off top a little bit, but that's if was a fifth, we all be drunk. That's just an if thesis, right? It's an if theory, I should say. But it's still baked in a thesis too, because we're still dealing with a potential breakout, right? So I can't say thesis. I know I was right. Follow my first mind, brother Africa Poor. Follow your first mind. Because what do you see right there? What do y'all see right there? The same way we was looking at the other pattern when it was kind of over under. This one here is more what? Right? On the over, right? So that means we're in some kind of what? Pattern recognition. What is the pattern right there? If nothing else, it's a basic what? Rounded bottom, apple bottom, jean, candy, carrot. What that song with Nelly, old school, the old school Tom Cruise movie with Tom Cruise in there. That was a funny movie. But yeah, so we did with a rounded bottom. Yeah, we know inflation through the roof. Yeah, we know unemployment still kind of all over the place. Yeah, we know, housing data came out, it was kind of crazy. But do you think the markets emotionally care about any of that? If they still thinking risk on, then so be it. They're going to keep flowing money into it. And so as the saying goes, sometimes the best trade is the one not taken. So if you don't feel comfortable in the marketplace, please do not go out there and try to trade it. Do not go out there trying to trade it. Don't do it. Sit on it. Learn from it. Paper trade, if anything, learn from it. Watch it. Study it. Dissect it. So we are in around the bottom, dealing with, as of now, a double top, right? Even though that one here failed, but you still can consider it a double top. So you got a lot of stuff going on here in this moment. So either they're going to barbecue or they're going to do right at the bottom, cup in hand, or however you want to do it. They got a lot of stuff, because if they fail, we definitely coming back down and test that low 460. If not, the 450 area, 455, somewhere around there. Easily. And we still got gaps to fill, but that's beside the point, right? Because they definitely ain't excited about filling no gaps in the SP 500. Not these greedy people. I ain't mad, because if they're greedy, I'm going to play ball too, right? I'm going to play ball right along with them. But that's Friday, so I don't know what the future market look like right now. I'll look at it real quick since we're on the way out the door here. But I'm probably guessing that we might be up unless there's something changed, because I saw that everybody waiting on the news with Joe Biden, whether they're going to nominate Jerome Powell again or the brain out lady. And we're supposed to get that vote by the House tonight on the Build Back Better plan. Now, I don't know if it went through tonight or not, because we've been training, right? Right. And I didn't get a chance to check if I had any alerts on that or not, but that was also on the table tonight, that the House was going to vote, do a preliminary vote. I guess you want to call it a preliminary vote on that Build Back Better plan. Right. So I don't know if Nancy Pelosi was able to carry it through or she didn't, but that was enough to kind of make markets feel optimistic. Whether they did or they didn't, I don't know. So future market could be either way right now, up or down, but we'll give it a look and see where they at. All right. So right, yeah, it's up. And it's up like I figured it would be. 120 points right now on the Dow, 18 points on the S&P, 0.38%, 0.60% on the NASDAQ or tech. Small cap about 0.40%, right? VIX down 0.88%. They ain't near a whole percent, close to that. So some news might have came out on just that I was talking about, right? So they might have came out with some either favorable vote or they running it. They said they was gonna postpone it for tomorrow, and the market's gonna run into that news tomorrow. And or again, Jerome Powell, Biden might have gave the announcement on that, because that was the only thing that was left pressing on the news that was just readily left open for today. Now, unless something else came out since we've been doing the training, then I'll see once I get off and go digging digging like I always do, right? Let me see what's going on. What got the market up this night? Up tonight. So but I figured that was going to be the energy going into Friday, because the way they kind of held the market up They held the market up and didn't let it fall, right? They definitely stopped it here. They saved it here, right? They played it here, tightened it down here. That was a chop day. That was a theta burn day on that day. So today was just more of like, okay, we can move, right? Even though we had a nasty wick out around 466 today, kind of spilled down today, right? But it got right back up there. So that was more of the cup and handle value of it right there. If you want to use that perspective, it dropped down to 466, 50 something close to there, and ramped back up there into the 470. Ain't a 4-point swing, intraday today. Crazy, right? Markets is, but the day before it did nothing. Right? Could make this stuff up. So yeah, we read at a triple top now because this candle had to complete that triple top and break out above it. That's what again, me personally, did just, my opinion, not investment advice. But I was already under the impression that we was going to break out above it tomorrow because these people, they trying to find every catalyst that they can to keep this market pumping. So if it's not the infrastructure bill at this point, they signed that. Now it's a Build Back Better plan. And on top of that, we also still got debt ceiling raise, got issues still on the table too. Y'all must have forgot. Roy Jones, y'all remember that song Roy Jones did? Roy Jones cut that album. What was the name of that song Roy Jones did? I know I wasn't the only one that heard Roy Jones rapping now. Come on now. Y'all tripping.
Y'all must have forgot.
How song go, Brother David?
Y'all must have forgot.
Y'all know y'all didn't. I wasn't the only one heard that rap song. Roy Jones out there rapping and hitting you across the head with them slugs. Y'all must have forgot. Listen to Roy. I'm from Florida, so I got to big up another Florida boy, right? Y'all must have forgot. But all them jokers had rap songs. Deion Sanders. I remember when Deion Sanders went to Florida State. Man, I'm not true story. Cause we used to go on campus, right? That was out there. We get out of high school, get out of school, not just high school, but just school period, and go hang out around the football player, cause that was like our NFL, especially in Tallahassee. I'm from, of course, no secret. So yeah, we go out there, hang out on FAMU campus, or go to Florida State. All them jokers. Audrey Dober. All them guys. Shannon Baker, Kes McCoy. Old school Florida State. Florida State used to be that, be that fire. To keep what it is. Now I don't participate in that stuff now. I let the plantation on the plantation, but. Y'all get it. I'm on the tangent. Let me move on. Move on, brother. So double top, triple top, tomorrow breakout. So transparency, I do got calls for tomorrow. I bought them right near the bell. I want to see how we close. We closed the way I thought we would. So yeah. So I got 470s and I got some 471 calls tomorrow. Just for transparency value. Right. And I'm just playing for continuation because they kept the market from falling. They played it beautifully. If they're going to play for the blowout top to try to run it to 473, 474, they better try to do it between now and Monday, right? Because they're going to have to deal with, again, that December debt ceiling bill is right around the corner. Remember, I think they gave it to, December the 3rd? If my memory serves me right. That's the debt ceiling, right? That still ain't been, resolved yet. Debt ceiling coming on December 3rd. That one is very pressing. The Build Back Better, even if they can't get it done before Christmas, they can drag it out into Christmas or after that in the new year. Of course, it'd be best if they get it done before that because they can say they can go into the holiday season with all that kind of upside cheer, market rally on the Christmas rally, all that. Y'all know how that stuff go. Right? Just like we're talking about Brother Sonny, you gave your little, you gave your thesis, right? Your analysis on where the market going to be potentially going into, in the year, right? We said around, you said about what? 482, right? 482. Could easily be 482 by the end of the year. Right? We seen markets so nutty and crazy and greedy. These people so greedy. They mess around and let this thing get to 475. They're running from 475 to 480 in a day or two, if that. These people so greedy. Greedy. They greedy. Well, we can't beat them joining, right? That's what we do. Right? That's why I would say we move with what under the aspect, the rules of engagement, not emotion. All right. So, and the earnings have not been that bad. They've been lower guidance. Lower estimates coming in. But for the most part, some of the earnings ain't been that bad. But a lot of that stuff is just them pricing in a lot of that future stuff and saying, okay, we're going to get through it because, they still, cheap money. They still benefiting a lot of that cheap money came out of last year with COVID. Unless they just really, really hurting on the inflation side of things because of supply chain issue like that. Like tonight, like a lot of companies got beat up, right? Some well-founded companies too, right? And rightfully so. So you had the likes of shucks, a few like Applied Materials, right? Semiconductor play. Thought they was gonna do it because Nvidia did good. Wall Street had something else to say. What was the other one? Williams-Sonoma retail. Macy's did get Macy's of all companies back starting to bang again. Macy's did good. So Williams-Sonoma just figured it, but they're more of a specialty store, right? Guess what? After all, look at them drops. Look at all them drops.
I caught that trade this morning too.
Say again?
I caught that trade on Macy's this morning.
You caught trade? Is it Macy? Good move. Oh, I didn't get a chance to get it. I was gonna buy me some calls. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was sure gonna buy some calls.
Yeah.
I ain't lying. I was so busy the other day, man. Well, cause a lot of stuff going on still here. And I had a hair appointment yesterday too. So I literally had to drive north to Baltimore up there in Bel Air, up there on the side of well, y'all know the area, y'all know what's going on. Other side of Edgewood and all that stuff to go get my hair done, and man, that spent my whole day on literally dealing with that,
Yeah.
Get home late at night. So I missed a lot of earning plays yesterday evening. That I want again, like I said, like Macy. But like applied material dumped after hours. Williams-Sonoma, that was one that everybody was thinking it is overextended, but it dumped from 220 all the way down to 201. Look at that marinade. Applied material, same thing, 157, 158, all the way down to I think 145, then they snapped back some. Workday, we knew Workday was gonna be in trouble because they still trying to get people back to work. They still ain't efficient till they get people back to work. That wasn't hard to figure that one out, right?
Yeah.
Right? Same way I was supposed to have puts on there and missed that. The one that I was gonna buy puts on that I didn't get though, I ended up buying those spy calls, right? This company called FTCH. Y'all might want to look that one up. I'm not even I'm gonna let y'all do y'all homework on that one. That was a gimme put buy, and they were dirt cheap. The stock was at $45 a day. All right, it was an IPO that deals with luxury retail. Luxury retail and a supply chain shortage? Are you kidding me? Take them out to the woodshed, put a bullet in them, boop, boop, right? Put two of them in it, boop, boop.
Oh, what was the name of it again? You said FTCH?
FTCH? Yeah, it's called, say again?
You said FTCH?
Yeah, FTCH. The $40 call puts with $40 a contract. It dropped to $34 after hours, guys. It was at $45. It dropped over 23 some odd %. They were dirt cheap. That was the ones I'd be loading up. I buy like 4 or 5 of them, spend about a couple $100. Y'all see the stock? If y'all see it, y'all let me know. When y'all get it, y'all let me know. FTCH is the ticker symbol. When you get it, let me know. So when you see it, I'm like, yep. Yep.
Oh God, look at that.
You see it?
Yeah.
And go look at the bar chart. Those contract for the $40 strike, you could have bought in the monies and they wasn't that bad. But the $40 just minimize your risk. Them things want to cost about 40 cents a contract. Now that 40 cents finna be worth at least a minimum of $400 to $500 tomorrow. $40 finna be worth about $400 to $500 tomorrow. That's the kind of stuff I'd be. So that's why I say this stuff is look all the money, guys. You see it?
Yeah, the open interest is still nice.
Mm-hmm. So tomorrow, if they don't get any kind of bounce, but they're gonna beat the brakes out that tomorrow. They're gonna do it the same way they did with that company Stone, right? I remember I posted that one in the group. A fintech company out of Brazil, right? Matter of fact, this one of them company Warren Buffett did. Warren Buffett took a big L the last couple of days on Stone. That stock dropped from like $40 all the way down to 20. Like it hit 19 today, actually. 19, somewhere around 19. Couldn't make this stuff up, right? And their competitor is a company called Mercalibre, right? Meli, they call it Meli, right? It's another, Latin American, fintech, right? They still trying to get all this stuff together. So, man, look.
Man, I bought some calls on Ross, man. That mug shot up and then like 10 minutes later, I was like, man, what just happened?
See, they ain't the same as Macy's, man. Some of them off-brand retail stores, they ain't the same like a Kohl's. Like Kohl's can play around with both because they got a little, real. Ross is just like, that's like the Dollar General retail, right? It's just it's like City Tree almost.
It's a City Tree.
It's City Tree on retail. But Ross got pricing power. But that's in an environment where everything is kind of wide open. See what I'm saying? Because a lot of people that shop at Ross, there's still some discount stuff. You can get some good stuff in Ross. I've been there every now and then, right? I like, the arts and crafts stuff. You can get that cheap stuff. Like, it's like going to Birds and Coat Factory and find some out of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, in an environment where the economy is like wide open, like you would think it would be, Ross booming. Because remember, if y'all remember this, like before COVID, Ross was kicking butt taking names. I'm not making this up. Ross was doing good on earnings, and they were getting high multiple, valuation. Then COVID messed it up. So now people trying to get back because that kind of client that shops in Ross like that, it's not the same client that shops at a Williams Sonoma, obviously, right? Pottery Barn, Elm Street. Like y'all know people that shop in them kind of stores, like Kirkland's, right? Novelty stores like that, World Market. You see what I'm saying? That's a different client, right? So yeah, that kind of hurt them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? In the terms of the supply chain issue, they having any adverse effect that could be problematic because they already got a certain client. You know what I'm saying? They can spend like that in there.
Yeah, I thought I had a for show hitter right there. And
I gotta know because the whole you like on the retail boom, like everybody at Macy's, it draw you in, right? But you got to be very culture specific or social specific, like we talked about tonight with the case study, right? With understanding the microeconomics, the different aspects of and perfect competitive strategies like that. Some of them, all of them ain't the same. You see what I'm saying?
That's true. And before that, I was about to buy some 700 calls on Intuit, and I said, no, I'm gonna go with Ross. And
that's another one got ticket to the windshield. Yep. Intuit got beat across the back. Same way.
Man.
Yep. Same scenario, bro. I'm with you. Cause I looked at it too. I was like, oh, because a lot of people trying to say, fintech, financial payment system. But again, they tried to measure it up against companies like PayPal. See how it draw you in? Yeah. But they're not the same because Intuit is more of a pure play on financial services like that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. PayPal, a lot of this stuff is just splintered and it's wavered. See what I'm saying? In their aspect of it. Intuit is definitely more, pure play on that, payment, employment, payment, stuff like that, like ADP, all this stuff. That's what Intuit do.
Right.
But is it Intuit also with TurboTax now or something like that, right?
I think so. I think they connect to a tax service too.
Yeah, they own TurboTax.
Yeah.
Was it Intuit?
Yeah.
That's how I got the stock. I think last year when he did taxes, Acorns was doing a promotion. So I just used my stash card to pay for it, and got hooked up.
Nice. And see, I was using a lot of those payment processors for from about 2015 up when I was selling Bitcoins and stuff on local Bitcoins. Man, I had to use so many because they always shut me down. And I do too much.
I'm with you. You gotta shake and move.
They made me so mad.
You know what I'm saying? So Intuit, like I said, been around, so they ain't no secondary player. They are, they founded it. They founded the company across the board, and so this just another extension of that. That aspect they're reaching their clientele or the expansion of that. Especially you get ready to go into tax season too. This is their season, cyclical for a reason, right? That's why we know the cyclical nature of markets for a reason, right? So all those little companies like the H&R Block publicly traded. The little companies like that, this is they see. I mean, the same thing you would say with somebody retail, but they came into the sector already kind of running hot into their earnings. Now they still gonna benefit. Some of them still gonna benefit from the back end of the holiday swing, the Black Friday and the Christmas, all this stuff. But this is what they kind of chop it down a little bit, and then we'll run into the, into the Q1 print, or excuse me, the Q4 print. That's all it is. They ran hot coming into it. Applied Materials, same thing, ran hot coming into the numbers. Williams Sonoma ran hot coming into their numbers, right? Seriously, if you look at their daily chart, let me show you one time. See, that's how you show Joker, right? Joker, you ain't just talking when you show it to him, right? Workday, all them scenarios like that, right? See how they ran hot coming into their numbers.
Yeah.
Look at it. This on the daily, just straight up. Look at it. Look into it. Even though Intuit just went higher, that's all it did. But look at all the green days Intuit had exposed to that of what Workday was dealing with. Red. Look at all them green days Intuit. You're bound the financial services, right? So same thing. Williams Sonoma, right? Ran hot into their numbers, right? Even if you kind of put it in that frame of that. you know, you kind of see what's going on after a while, right? Again, it's not rocket science, right? It's not. Right, they ran hot into their print. So obviously, look at the RSI, overbought like a mug, running to them. That don't mean that because stocks still go higher, but you can tell when Wall Street want to take some profit. When the getting is that good, going into a print, and they get a chance to reestablish themselves, even if they have any small ancillary issues dealing with supply chain, they'll work it out. Then they get a chance to buy it cheaper. Wash, rinse, repeat. See, that's why you don't be emotional. You just understand how to play game, right? Play chess, right? That's the name of the game. Wash it out, rinse it up, and then ride it again. It starts like Snapchat and stuff. Eventually, it'll bounce again, start to kind of climb back up again. Matter of fact, Spotify just did a deal with Snapchat. I don't know if y'all saw that. They're gonna share some kind of music on Snapchat now through Spotify. So, these companies still out there making moves, and it's y'all get it.
Smart. That was a smart deal.
Yep. Them having access to that, and Spotify being who it is. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So,
Spotify got good playlists.
Say again.
Now, I was saying Spotify have really good playlists.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely use them. And you can store old stuff on there too, even if you don't have the membership, right?
Yeah,
you still go and play off of it, like a Google Music play, something like that. So yeah, so that'll be good for Snap, and they can leverage that as another little, marketing employees to the user base, So yeah, I mean it's a lot, but we'll keep kind of unveiling stuff as it goes. Opportunities out there, man. It's a lot that we could have touched on tonight that we'll get around to it. We'll get around to kind of continuously unpacking it as things go. Especially when we get out of this holiday, again, next week is Indian harvest season, right? I got to keep saying that, right? Indian harvest day the next week. So, of course, that's on a Thursday. So, I'll probably be out of town personally. We still get stuff, cleaned up since the scenario in my household as it is. But we're going to try to use it as a way to, kill two birds with one stone kind of scenario, handle the business on the way down to Florida for the family scenario potentially. So I'll be out of pocket. I want to say Tuesday. I think we pull out maybe Tuesday. I don't know. Anyway, if I get a chance to do something before that, y'all know. Like if we do something, maybe if I get a chance to do something, probably this Sunday if I ain't overly consuming and doing other stuff and tasks, then we'll do like another part this Sunday and maybe finish up what we did. If not, I might get lucky to do something Monday. I'll keep y'all, in the loop. But I know Thursday. I know for all y'all Thursday, y'all gonna be probably somewhere, chilling anyway. Whether you support or you don't do it, have anything to do with it or you're not. But again, it's just that moment where a lot of people are gonna be out of pocket anyway, regardless, indirectly or directly. All right, so we'll try to do something maybe, like I said, maybe if not Sunday, Monday. So, yeah, I'll keep y'all posted either way. But until then, again, y'all kind of see what's going on with the markets. It ain't hard to kind of put the market into a context, block it up, and you see what's going on. Again, we right up here at it. I mean, you see it here, even on this little screen here. You see what's going on here, right? They either gonna they either got a barbecue or they gonna mildew. If they can't break out tomorrow, y'all know what's gonna happen, right? We coming down, all right, and we may test that 20-day moving there at that 461 area easily. So they're gonna have to prove themselves tomorrow. But as of now, futures are rallying because they want that 4-7. They want to take out this all-time high going into the next week potentially. So as of now, my little calls are safe. As of now, they're safe, right? But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I was looking at that seasonal chart too. Usually get a nice move going into this next month.
Yeah, holiday rally. They usually like a Thanksgiving. Then of course, you had a little kind of reset a little bit in the first week or so of December. Then they start ramping up for the Christmas, quote unquote, Christmas rally. Now again, we're dealing with different circumstances because of COVID, supply chain issues, inflation, all this stuff. Whole different ball game, but markets are still programmed sentimentally, right, on the sentimental perspective, psychological perspective, to still feed those kind of marquee moments in markets, right, quote unquote, rallies, Christmas rallies, and all this stuff. So money will come magically out of nowhere. Right, and the economic data could be very pressing against markets. The reason why it shouldn't rally, and it'll still rally. Again, that's the irrational exuberance, and it's built on timetables. Right, again, markets are moving under it's uniform trend. Uniform trend is always known that Christmas or a market holiday rallies that comes in this back latter part of the year, And then typically most people are rampant because people are spending money, feeling festive. You know what I'm saying? That's obviously translates to revenue, right? One way or the other, especially discretionary items, obviously, right? But some of your service utilization because they need to help, transact faster, stuff like that. So into it. See how that connects? It's on and on and on, right? And then tax season coming up too. It's not hard to connect the dots, is my point. The more you begin to really stop and think about it, the more your mind just be 100% racing and connecting dots. It's just going from one to next, one node to next. Boom, boom. This makes sense. That makes sense. This makes sense. This connects. I see what this is about. And I see how this connects. That's what you want to do. You want to get yourself in the process of thinking like that. So now your mind is moving and functioning like it was designed to as a supercomputer. Period. Right? Period. That's what you designed for. Ain't no computer can outthink you. Stop playing. Let's go. Right? Let's use this brain power and figure this stuff out, guys. So we can get us a bag, right? And continuously grow our future in that perspective. All right. So we ready. So tomorrow we'll be ready. We'll see. So yeah, and I probably saw the little penny stock runner today with that LG, right? That LGNV, right? What's called Longevarian Incorporated. Weird name, right? But that little baby broke out like gangbusters. I was able to catch that today. I got 100% out of that one, right? A little bit under. I ended up around what? Well, it broke. Actually went up more after hours tonight too. It went up toward like $10 and change, I believe, if I ain't mistaken. We hit 1037. So we closed out at 1037 after hours, as you can see right here, right? So I'm up more than this right here. So right now I'm up. Well, before I checked, I was up 94%. So I'm up 100% now, easily. I'm up 100% easy on this. I swung some of this tomorrow, just on GP on Transparent. I'll talk about the stock because they got an FDA acknowledgement, right? It wasn't approved. I think it was a designation. I said that back. It was a pediatric FDA designation, all right, for one of their little drugs, right? And so it's a low float stock to the stock. The float only like what 2-3 million. So y'all know a little tight. That float turned over today about what? It turned over 10 times today. The float turned over like 10 times today. I think they had a total of actually more than that. It was like let me see how much volume we had today yeah, there it is right there. I'm tripping. 278 million. Yep. 278 million shares moved today on a 2-3 million float. So that's basically around over a little bit what? Over basically about 100 times right there. That float was turned over today. So yeah, it may have some more, room to run in it tomorrow. We'll know, because I swung, so I took a little bit and I swung some, right? But if I catch one of your little runners like that, when the news is kind of solid like this, I can feel more comfortable in it, So, made some coins on it and stand to make a little bit extra tomorrow. Definitely with this gap up after hours, and ran some more after hours, because it closed at actually like $6. It closed at $6.80 I believe, and now it's up 1037. So that's another extra little $4 something like that after hours. So that's a nice little bag, right? So we'll see what it does tomorrow because it could easily, fly higher, right? Obviously, with a float that low, boy, it'll obliterate shorts. And it's a Friday place, so people be looking for the little Friday pump and dumps. Even though this one actually got news, right? Decent news, good news, or whatever. But that's the market, right? Y'all know that's the word. So we'll keep out. So I'm just saying that keep your eye on it just in case, guys, for the traders out there. It's not investment advice. It's just saying keep your eye on the money, right? Where the money moves at sometime. So whatever. So we'll see what it do tomorrow. So that's it, guys. So I'm gonna get ready to get out here, guys. Unless you guys got anything else, we get on out of here early so we can focus on tomorrow, of course, and getting ready for for whatever ending harvest day, right? Right. So we y'all gonna celebrate and get your little giblet gravy and your little chicken liver and your little bull testicles, and your little chitlins and all that. That's how they call them,
some hog maws,
right? The maw, right? Yeah. Boy, y'all be eating that. Y'all be doing that pork, boy. Y'all get the muzzle turned over in that gravy right now. But y'all be eating that pork, boy. Y'all be eating that pork. Man, they're gonna be eating good. They go, next week, boy. They're gonna find excuses like, man, look at it. It's been a long COVID, man. I gotta, I don't really celebrate this, but this time I'm gonna celebrate because it just because of COVID. But yeah, Joe, you did go eat that stuff anyway. You was already ready to eat it. Your
What you
gut
say?
eater. What that Malcolm said, you're a eater, a gut eater. You just a gut eater. you eat guts. All right, I'll leave that alone, man, because that's old school. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at. Tomorrow market wise, we'll see, and we'll be prepared one with the other. And like I say, we'll finish. Hopefully, not Sunday. Maybe get something in Monday. We'll finish up the second part of that. Of what we talked about tonight, behavior aspects, right? Behavior aspect of choices. Again, if you want the book, it's in the group. We'll get it to you again if you want. If you didn't get it, if you want it, we won't force nothing on nobody here, of course. We all individuals here in that perspective, but we are part of the collective of a black body of politic, as we say, Ubuntu for a reason, because we have to be each other's brothers and sisters keeper. We have to just get in the mind of doing that, right? So that's how you build stuff. That's how you build nations. So very unselfish over here, all of us. That's how like us to be. Of course, I can't speak for nobody, but I know I'm dealing with great men here, and the women when they're in the building. So shout out to you all. Peace, power, profit to you all. Ubuntu for a reason. I am because we trying to do something that a lot of people count us out a lot and say that we can't do. I'm here to challenge that status quo, right? And so you guys should be excited about that. Again, go share this information. Go pay it forward. You get around your nieces and your nephews for this little so-called holiday stint. Share this information with them, guys. Why wouldn't you? Seriously. Start sharing this stuff with the young folk, because the young folk definitely benefited from it the most. And they got more risk tolerance because they're young, right? They can take their allowance money and put it in, buy fractional shares of Apple and Tesla and all that stuff. And see, they're gonna thank y'all later. I see that's why you're gonna thank your uncle later. See, that's how you roll up on them. Y'all thank them later. Right? Because they're gonna know that you brought them that information. Or, auntie for the sisters out there. All right. So that's it, guys. If y'all got anything else, I'm gonna get on out of here. Go get me a little bite to eat and just do me a little back end studying here for maybe another hour or so. That I'm gonna shut it down for the evening, because I'm still tired from yesterday. I had to do all that driving, right? Going up North Baltimore. Woo. And they're doing a lot of construction up there too. It was a mess. But yeah, so I'm gonna get me some rest.
That's why I just moved to not the north. Where am I at? Yeah, no, I'm in the north. Yeah.
Oh, y'all already finished everything on the clothes and everything on the scenario?
Yes, sir.
Pete, my man. Shout out. I wish I had some sound effects right now, because I'd be pumping right now. Like, congrats, bro. Congrats. Again, again, of course, like we saying again, but congrats, man. And so yeah, you said you north 95. So you up above what? You upside of Baltimore area or just outside of DC north?
Yeah, it's like
Glen Burnie,
it's like
Ellicott. You up far than that?
I'm near the colleges. What is that? Morgan.
Okay, so
right?
okay, yeah. So like, of course, you got Ellicott City. You got Timonian. I guess I said it right, Timonian.
Yeah, I think it's
Towson.
It's Frankfurt. It's Frankfurt.
Frankfurt area. Okay, yeah. So okay. Handling business.
Yeah, so I'm just getting everything all nice and settled in, trying to set up the layer.
Yeah. Well, how it is. It's always great when this perspective, because you make a move, right? This is a power move. When you make those kind of move, it's like you don't feel like you gotta do a whole lot. The work ain't so much work at that point, because it's like this is a good. This is good, right? It's like ain't like when you're in college, so you get evicted from an apartment in college. You're like, I just gotta find a place to stay. It's like you don't want to do all that movement. I just you live minimum as much as possible. When you make a power moves and own properties and upgrading your equity war chest, what I'm saying? It feels good, you know what I'm saying? Ownership.
Definitely, house hacked it, so pretty much eliminated that mortgage, or at least that rent free, pretty much.
Yeah, see, that's the part of the game. See, that's that part, right? They say that part, right? Right? They be pointing that little emoji, meme like that. That part, So, congrats again, 1,000. Congrats to you, and in your circle, and and your energy, right? Because you know what I'm saying in that perspective, because it takes that kind of connectivity, right? That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be linking with proper energy and making power moves, right? So come on, folk. All of us, we're very well endeared endowed to be able to do so. So it's just a point when we're taking this knowledge and we're now transferring it to opportunity, like we're supposed to, as we're supposed to, right? They say, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. And I'm like right down the street from this one African restaurant called Shekinah Glory.
Yeah,
And
I've heard of Chicago.
and
Yeah.
oof, it's so good. I've been going there like every other day. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, you know, that's a good thing too, because the ecosystem, learning new places, new faces, new, you know, new spaces, all that. And it's fun, you know, it's like a scavenger hunt, you know, for adults in a lot of ways, because, you know, you get to map out new environments and stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm only saying because, again, you know, being private military, you just, you know, you move because of the business, right? It's part of the business. You get a chance to see the country, the world, and all this stuff, and it's like, okay, it's weird, you know, but it's good because, again, they say travel is good, and sometimes moving, not just moving all over the place because you know, you being kicked out of a place, but when you can make moves because you can make the move, it's a whole different perspective. You're comfortable, you know, you feel good about the situation. So yeah, so again, so shout out to you again, Oba Marquise, man. Congrats 1,000,000%. Deserve it. You know, you definitely deserve it, and it's only, you know, up from here as always. It's always been up for you, but you know how it go. You just expanding, like all of us, you know, on here. You know, we're taking this bull by the horn, right, or the bear by the ears, right. The only way we're gonna ride this market, we're gonna get far away. If it's crypto, equity, forex, all of it, you know, it's synonymous, right? So we don't leave any of it out because it's all opportunity. So that's what we're here for, right? So growth is growth. Either way you look at it, growth is growth, right? So I'm excited for that, right? So, and I'm happy we all excited for it too, right?
And it's also something about like it's great because once you do the process, now you understand the process.
Yeah, experience is the best teacher, and you know how to get better pray every time. So of course, like, you know, with our situation, you know, we've been in it for a minute now, and you know, acquiring properties, and it's a good scenario because, again, now we can, you know, with the knowledge, you gain more sense of understanding how to, you know, utilize it to your advantage, like leveraging, as we just talked earlier, right? You leveraging, right? How to work around your mortgage and interest rates, right? When it's the right time to buy. Every time ain't the best time to buy, even though you might be ready because your pocket, but you still want to get things cheaper if you can get it cheaper, right? And so all that stuff matter, right? Mortgage rates are coming back down again, so interest rates are starting to kind of plummet a little bit, even though the Fed is still trying to keep, you know, interest rates suppressed. You know, it's another expansion coming on with refi. People trying to refi one more time before the holiday get out, right? Or the year get out, right? And it's just the cheating stuff, right? Buying property, right? Whatever you're doing, right? It's all based upon, you know, applied knowledge at this point. It's not so much just I'm just, you know, sowing a row. Oh, I just want to always buy a property. No, you actually making moves to strategically how to utilize the system to your advantage. That's next level, right? So I'm saying, so it's great, you know. But I'd be here for days talking about that kind of stuff. I love it. But that's why when I do go live during the day, we can go hard because I got the, you know, ample wind. We can go hard. We can go get at this stuff because we should have more conversations like this anyway. Besides the Urban Economic Empowerment Show, you know, these conversations we had, like Earn Your Leisure, right? The guys over there, Earn Your Leisure, right? The guys, that, again, they're constantly having this kind of quality conversation for a reason. And it's necessary that, you know, all of us should be thinking like that. Wall Street Trapper and Hunger Travel, Travel Leisure, and what's her name? I forgot her sister's name. I know, but all of us, right? You know, y'all know what I'm saying. The circles, right? The typical circles, and the people that we know that's out there making moves. So, you know, but anyway, y'all get it. So shout out to everybody again. Let me get out of here. Let me go eat me some late dinner. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Don't hesitate if you want the book, we'll email it to you. Whatever, it's a PDF in PDF form. Again, if you're following along, of course, we hope you're benefiting from it. We appreciate everybody that patronized the channel and the panel, of course, you know, and information we hope is you know, that it's useful, right? That's what we endeavor for every time we come on live, is that the information is useful, right? Useful knowledge. That's what we're trying to do here. So I hope it was useful tonight, guys. If not, y'all please let me know because I want to be able to, you know, move within the space of what you guys could be, you know, what y'all want, you know. That's what it's all about, right? So, you know, I'm always going to be open to that, you know. So I'm the type of people I want to be around people who have affinity to want to learn. That's all that matters to me. So it's exciting. All right, so that's it, guys. I'm gonna get out of here, guys. So peace, power, profit to the family. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see y'all guys on the battlefield tomorrow.
Thanks, Auburn.
Right.
Thank
you guys. Thank you, Auburn, as well. Peace, power, profit to everybody on the YouTube.
Peace, power, profit to y'all.
Shout out Robert Divine in the building. Everybody coming through today. on YouTube. I already everybody, you know, brother Ghost Alchemist over there. Who else we had over there? Brother Zane came through. Everybody on that side that was just, you know, listening. People that couldn't even type. So, but everybody specifically here on the panel, though, brother Jermaine, over Rich, obviously over Sonny, over Chris, over David, over Brandon, everybody over Marquise, over Jeremy, everybody else that was in today. Brother Devon was in, right? You know, yeah, you know, we know it's holiday season, even though it's this close to it, but you know, people still kind of, you know, planning. So everybody ain't gonna be able to kind of, you know, always be available. But that's the great thing. We do have it on the YouTube, so you can go back and replay it if you want. Right. So we trying to archive this stuff for a reason. So we can have and say, you know, we can look back and say we had a legacy where we were working. Right. And we trying to show people that we working. Right. Rightfully so. Not we want attention or we looking for somebody acknowledgement. It's just that, hey, this is how we politicking, guys. So we're able to do this stuff. All right, so that's it, guys. So I'll see y'all on the next one. I'll let y'all know if we can get some in either this Sunday or Monday before, you know, ending Harvest Day next week. All right, so that's it, guys. So y'all have a great one. I'll see y'all on the next one, family.
Peace, family.
All right. Peace, everybody. Peace, fam. Peace.
Peace.